Call the meeting to order, if everybody could rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we get a roll call, Madam Auditor?
Councilmember Rivas.
Here.
Councilmember Bozick.
Here.
Councilmember Brickner.
Here.
Councilmember Graham. Here. Councilmember Jessen.
Here.
Councilmember Paparad. Councilmember Sims.
Here.
7 present.
All right, so here we go. Final reading, we're gonna try to adopt budgets tonight. So we kind of pushed a lot off, so hopefully we can move through it as fast as we can, but we don't want to miss anything. And we'll probably have to take a break at the end, so bear with us. So the auditor or staff can put all the numbers together and we can have one final vote at the end. And just a reminder, you guys, I know, just stick around so we all have to sign it tonight before we take off. Vicki, the general fund, I know that's been something that we've set out to protect this year, more so than in many years. What have we spent so far? What have we kind of spent out of that, the general fund?
The increase so far totals $435,716.
So we've done a great job so far, and hopefully tonight we kind of don't increase that a whole lot. And, you know, we've now recommended to the commissioners, and they've approved a wage study. You know, over the years, we've had many people in front of us, you know, doing their own little analysis, and council members wanting to push it. So this year, you know, we're going to start that, and we'll see what it says. Hopefully next year, by mid-year, we'll have that, and we can begin to digest it and be ready to start to tackle it. Don't know what it's going to say. If it's something really significant, I can't say we can tackle it all at once, but I don't think we're going to be crazy out, but I'm sure there's going to be some things we have to adjust. So I think by protecting the general fund this year, maybe we can tackle, you know, any inequities that we find next year. And going back, just recapping, we have been, additionals are a big thing. We have been burning the general fund a little bit reserves, and a lot of that, in my opinion, is because once we pass a budget, you know, usually in February, we start getting things in, and here comes the additionals from departments. And every additional out of the general fund is just an increase in the budget process, an increase in spending. So that eats reserves. You know, Vicki reminds us every time, you know, we made a budget, we set a spending policy, and here we go in February, the additionals start coming, and that's what continues to eat into reserves. You know, Vicki, do you know how much we've spent this year in additionals, what we've done?
We'll get that for you in a second.
I know I was looking on average, I think, the last 5 years, I think, from the general fund, it's like 600 and some thousand in additionals every year.
And some years it's gone up to above $1 million.
So, this is going to help. This is going to help keep us in a healthy spot. And I know one of our goals with Baker Tilly, our consultant we brought in, is try to keep our fund balances around 20%. So that's going to be a goal we're going to try to move forward with. But I want to say it's $400,000 in additionals, somewhere in there.
No, so far it's 508.
508.
8,000.
So that's additional spending on top of our budget
51.
for this year. So just to keep that in mind to not only ourselves, but our department heads, that, you know, when we set the spending policy, when we set the budget, every additional out of general fund you're coming in front of us is just more spending into those reserves. So, all right, with that being said, we can roll right in to, I'll try to go along with everything. I mean, at the end, if we didn't address something, there may be a reason we didn't address it, but if it's something you think it's really, you know, raise your hand and we'll let you know why we skipped it, or if it was an accident or not. So, I'll open the floor to start heading down the path of addressing everything that we pushed off to today. So,
Okay, Mr. President, just to make a few comments as we talk about, as I think maybe the first thing we can address today is the 2022 employee salary ordinance. I think that'd be a good place to start. I think, as we all know, there's nothing more important than the people that work for the county. And our goal is to attract and train and retain good employees throughout the county in every department. And, you know, we have struggled over the years trying to determine what an appropriate pay should be for various departments. And we've struggled, you know, throughout the years trying to determine what the pay should be. We've struggled with it, we've talked about it for many years, and we're still not where we need to be. I know I'm convinced that we have people throughout the county that are woefully underpaid. I think there's a lot fewer, if any, that are overpaid. But I think a real positive step in the right direction for the county going forward is the thorough analysis and the deep dive we're going to do in the form of a wage study. I think that's long overdue for all departments. And so I think that's a real positive step for the county, you know, going forward. So rather than, you know, arbitrary raises that come up each and every year at the end of the budget session, when we determine how much money is left, and we therefore decide who's going to get what. And oftentimes, there's not a whole lot of objectivity to that. And so we pledge as a council, going forward through the help of the wage study, that we're going to correct that once and for all. So I think that's a real positive step in that right direction. It's certainly the prudent and the responsible thing to do. It's not going to, the wage study itself will not be easy. We know it's not going to be inexpensive. And it's going to take, you know, several months of digging into the different departments and digging into the different job descriptions and duties to try to identify what the appropriate value is for the work that our people are doing. And I think that, you know, certainly makes a lot of sense. I think in public service, which all the employees are in it for public service, or should be. We know that in most cases, the people that work for the county are not in it for the money, and they recognize the fact that in government there's a finite amount of money, and so we have to be very careful in how that money is dispersed. So, having said all that, I certainly look forward to the wage and salary study, and look forward to what we can do next year with that information, so that we ultimately, you know, come up with a plan. And it may be a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, or a 5-year plan, but have a plan where ultimately we've got the best people who are paid appropriately for the work they do, and we can show our appreciation, you know, in the way of appropriate compensation. So, having said all that, then what I would like to do is, Mr. President, is make a motion to approve a $4,000 premium pay payable in 2022 to the following departments. It'd be the sheriff merit officers, the jailers, juvenile detention officers, and then excluding administrative staff, the departments of EMA, the health department, and facilities.
Second? Need a second yet?
Okay, we can take this in 2 pieces if you like.
Why don't you
I
finish?
wasn't quite
Yeah.
finished.
Oh, hurry up.
Land your plane.
Fair enough. So, and then for all other full-time employees and elected officials, my motion would be for them to receive a $3,000 stipend payable in 2022.
You're up. Now second.
All right, so there's a motion on a second for premium pay along with stipends in 2022. And if I could just say something and add something, we do value our employees, and I was going back with the help of Vicky, our auditor, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, the last 5 years, as far as I can see, we've been giving raises every year between 3.5% and 4%. You know, we continue to try to give way above cost of living raises, between 3.5% and 4% every year. It's not something and it's something that I hope that we can continue, for sure. But we find ourselves in a unique spot where we can take a step back, make sure the general fund remains healthy, do a wage study, and at the same time compensate everybody through premium pay and stipends. And I think everybody can do the quick math on the average employee. You know, I've heard, well, maybe they just want 2%. Well, if you make $40,000 and 2%, that's $800. 3,000 versus 800, I think I would take the 3,000 all day. Well, it doesn't change the base. Well, I mean, we're all pretty smart. You can do the compounding. It's not. It would probably take 30, 40 years for you to catch up to that. So I think it's a good deal as we're doing some other things here. So that's all. Has anybody else got anything? Discussion?
Have we discussed how we're paying it? Is it gonna be a lump sum?
That's, I think the details, like everything, is, you know, we gotta continue to work with the auditor, to make certain, like, some of this is premium pay, where it's gonna be paid from. We just got the details, and we've got a little bit of road ahead of us. We could work out the details, what's best, you know, how that best would be paid out, whether it's one lump sum, two, at two different times. So, no, that exactly hasn't been decided, yes. It's something that we'll have to work with the auditor on.
I know I'd prefer to see it go out in a lump sum or two if possible, just mentioning that.
Any further discussion? Can we get a roll call, Madam Auditor, on that?
Councilmember Bozick?
Yes?
Councilmember Brickner?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen?
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad?
Yes.
Councilmember Sims?
Yes.
And Councilmember Rivas?
Yes.
7-0.
All right, so we'll just keep tackling it down. So I kind of gave you guys a little rough agenda. It was kind of me personally trying to take some notes, but I'll try to follow this to hit everybody. So we're not going to call you guys up unless somebody has any question up here, then we'll call you up to answer. Or, you know, if absolutely you think we missed something and want to say something, please, you know, you'll have the right, but we'll try to, you guys presented on second reading, so we'll try to flow through this. So with the sheriff and the jail, I think you guys, quite a bit of discussion on 1217. So, Madam Auditor, can you bring that budget up? And I think we're looking at passing it as the sheriff had originally presented to us. I know there was kind of some changes on it. Do you have the numbers that he had plugged in? No?
Yeah, we'll have to plug them back in.
Okay.
So pension was 170,000. Uniforms 85,000. Ammunition 25,000. Training and ed 40,000. Motor vehicles 400,000.
So can you go back up?
Wait, other equipment, 27,000. And then we had the increase to the jail medical contract of 46.
Yeah, please put that.
Um,
No, take that out. That'll go into the foundation.
Okay, because it wasn't.
Can you go back up? Put the original number in there, I think he had for some salaries. Can you just put that in there? I think it was, I think the number was 239,194. Yes. So I think that represents everything that was originally proposed, I believe. Uniform and clothing. I thought uniform and clothing was at 64. Sheriff, do you see, was it? 85. It was 85? Okay. Okay. So is that up here, right? Up,
Yes, yeah. The 64 was just the uniforms, and then we needed vests for 20.
so does that bottom line, Madam Auditor, is that,
Do we have a question regarding, the number for the salaries? 239,194, that is the 5% raises.
no, but it's not, we're not changing the salary ordinance, though. We're not, right? I mean, we're just putting that line item in there. It's not gonna change.
You should want to take it out.
It's not, I mean, he can't pay an increase to an employee unless the salary ordinance is changed, correct?
Correct.
No. You know what time was.
So that, just put the number in there. Yes, just,
Okay, so the total, if we add all that in there, is 1,457,350.
you guys okay? All right. There's the budget in front of you, 1217. I mean, we're not, the money's there, I understand, but, you know, we put in there for salaries, but there's nothing, we're not changing any salaries in the salary ordinance. So,
Something wrong?
Well,
yes,
if you pass it with the salary increases, am I looking at this right? Put in 239.
Can't pay without giving it all.
Why would you leave that in there?
Right, it needs to be in the salary ordinance. So we're not sure
What they're,
what comes down.
I mean, we could take it out if there's confusion, I mean, we're not increasing any, you know, it's fine. If, what's the wish of the council? I don't,
right, the $9,001 was already there.
right,
And then we were looking at the 28,000 for the increase to the lieutenants and the sergeants.
That's related.
okay.
Later, okay.
Well, did you take that out of there? Yes, so we'll work our way through this. So,
Totally confusing.
it's all right. Just, if you put the whole number in there that he was asking for, I mean,
Why
we'll,
would we want to leave it in there?
what's that, Andy?
I was just trying to understand why we'd want to leave it in there. What was the purpose?
Take it out. I mean,
Oh,
I
I
don't,
don't know.
it's, he can only spend according to the salary ordinance, pay somebody, correct?
Correct.
So you're just leaving it in there as a placeholder kind of thing?
So, I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean,
At the salary.
we can take it out.
You have the ability to do a stipend outside the salary ordinance
But we're not
with
giving
an
out that
additional.
salary.
We can take it out, you guys, if you wanna hold that out, what's the,
Yeah,
No,
But
we'll
I'll-
be putting the stipend in the salary ordinance.
We don't have to, though.
Yes, we do.
We did last year. When they got their bonus, we didn't change the salary ordinance. Did we give a bonus this year?
it's not an issue.
alright. Let's just, to clear it up, take it out. Leave the $9,001 in there. It would assume that it would clean things up a little bit for now. We'll work through it. It's not. All right? Out? Is that right? Is it out now? We good?
It is.
I can't see. All right, there's the bottom line, you guys, for 1217 that we didn't vote on in second reading, so I'll entertain a motion.
My only question would be, do we not want to tackle that other thing that you just did? And is that coming out of here?
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
There's a motion, a second on the 1217 budget. Further discussion? Can we get a roll call? Yes. Did you make an original motion on the,
Oh, that's already,
that
we
was
did that,
passed.
we're all good.
yeah, we voted on it, yeah. We had a roll call, no, you're fine, on the 1217. You're not the only one, I am too.
Well, you're getting
Councilmember
old.
Brickner?
What's that?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Brickner,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad, Councilmember Sims,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas,
Yes.
and Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
7-0.
All right. So we're gonna stick with the sheriff here. So if we could go to his, the jail budget, the general fund jail budget. So we got a few, things to address here. So we've got 157 Franklin Security that we approved, quite a bit of overtime to cover that security at that facility. So to me, it seemed like a better, option to give him 3 new jailers to cover that instead of paying over $100,000, whatever it was, 120, 130,000 in overtime. That place needs security, so, and that's done by jailers, so, we gotta cover that. So there was, I think Vicky had put together a number, you guys in your, summary sheet, so I think it was, maybe page 4
Yes.
on top. Commissioners, jail, security, 3, I think there's 3 officers at 43,017. Is that just, a basic jailer, first class? So,
And that's enough to have it staffed the whole time?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want a motion?
yeah, I'll entertain a motion, yeah, to,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion in a couple seconds to add,
3 officers,
3 jail officers at $43,017.
correct.
While we're in here, I just want to bring something up here. I know this is where we're gonna go down this path. I know we've got a wage study coming, but there's some things we're gonna have to tackle tonight. Again, every year we tackle kind of some special things. The sheriff's mentioned, that's an area he gets a lot of turnover, but where he doesn't get his turnover, is when he gets into his captains, lieutenants, sergeants, when he gets into his, I don't wanna, can I say brass, is that the right, or, leadership? He had asked for, I think, some increases for, a couple lieutenants and sergeants, is that right?
These are
Um,
jailers?
Jailers. So I'm seeing a total increase, and you were gonna pay this out of that 1217, but it looks like a total of 28,000, is that right? I mean, so if we increase that line item, we'd have to go into the 144 though, right? Then, so. I think you have, looks like 4 lieutenants, increasing them to at 3,500 apiece that you're asking for, and 7 sergeants, increasing them at $2,000 apiece. Both comes out to those line items in the 144 at 14,000 total, well, for a total of 28,000.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
This motion in a couple seconds on,
This will help you in the retention process.
so there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there-
Mr. President,
Yes,
point of order, on the first component of that, we actually, motion was made second, but we didn't actually vote on it. Do you want to have all the votes together, or?
No, that's a good question.
Sorry.
No, that's,
We didn't vote on that.
right. You wanna wait and do both?
We can do them all at one time, it's one budget. It's all-
Okay, perfect. Thank you. No, good question.
You need me to withdraw a motion or anything, or no?
Anything else in this budget?
I don't think so, that I can think of, that takes care of security, no. We'll just have to go back to the. So, we good? No, that's all right. So we combine the motions, or just,
Right.
Just- She put up the total and we'll make a motion.
Yeah, right, withdraw the first and submit his second.
Fine, 23.
So the jail general fund budget totals 4,154,142.
That includes the 3 new officers and these,
3 new jailers, and then the increases for the jail lieutenant and sergeants.
okay. How about,
However, we will be making an adjustment to FICA later on
Okay.
to include this.
Okay.
That'll come out of the commissioners.
so how about we just withdraw those previous motions and we'll make a motion at this bottom number?
I'll withdraw.
Withdraw.
All right, so there's a new number that's got what we just discussed, 3 new jailers and a
So
couple
moved.
increases. There's a motion at $4,154,142. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, further discussion? We get a roll call, Madam Auditor? I don't think we need a roll call.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad, Councilmember Sims,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas,
Yes.
Councilmember Bozak,
Yes?
and Councilmember Brickner,
Yes.
7-0.
So I think to finish off that, to round that off, can we open the sheriff's budget up real fast? I think there was, previously, we had put $50,000 in there for vehicles somewhere a couple years ago. Yes, can we remove that, make that 0? Because that kind of takes care of, 1217's taking care of that, so. All right, so what's the new number down there? So since we made a change, I'll entertain a motion on the new number.
Make a motion to accept the 5,965,16.
Motion a second, further discussion. Should we do a roll call on all these? We just, by. Okay, all in favor of the 5,960,516, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, I think that cleans that up. I think, we miss anything there? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you guys working with us very much, so, thank you. E911 would be the next jump, folks. I know, going back off.
Oh, where you are.
Yeah, second.
Have a good evening, guys.
She's gonna go, so, so there was, again, we'll try to go down that makeshift agenda. E911 had I think, a special request, so everybody can see it in front of them. If you go to, the auditors, that would be in the, non-general fund surcharge. I think there was a request for the assistant director. And this is where we're gonna have to battle with ourselves here. Again, we do have a wage study out there, but there's some of these outliers. If we really think in our heart, any kind of conversations that these department heads have done, that we need to begin to close the gap, it's in front of us. It's the council's pleasure. There was a request for, moving the assistant director up $10,000. It's in front of you. His budget was down, this budget was down, after removing some spots, but I'll entertain a motion, or silence will tell me to move on.
What's the previous salary?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that.
Okay, hold on.
So
Do
really
you know what the
big.
previous salary is?
Can you pull that?
I'm sorry, what was it?
52,132.
He's asking about 62,132.
Right.
So-
So 62,132.
Should have been probably in the side letters, if you guys consolidated for the big meeting today. I'm sure you did.
Stuff everywhere, man.
We'll go, so
I'll make the motion.
there's a motion on the floor for the full $10,000 from, what are you making the motion for?
To increase it from 52,132 to 62,132.
There's a motion on the floor.
She may die.
There's a motion on the floor to increase the assistant director from 52,000 to 62,132. Is there a second? There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? All right, there's no second. So,
I'd just like to say, I really would like to wait for this work study to be done, and to really be able to know what what direction we need to go to, and we will make, the corrections when, if and when it's necessary. That's my reason why I'm holding back on this.
It's gonna, we have to make some tough decisions because of that tonight. There's no doubt, but that's why we're here.
I mean, there's a lot of responsibility with that position. I mean, it's just throwing that out there too.
It's not filled now, correct?
Correct. It's open. Right? It's still open?
That's correct.
Anthony?
Yes, our previous deputy director resigned, and we returned.
Are you having a lot of applicants now?
We have, about 10, and some of them are not qualifying for the position. Unfortunately, the rate right now is, qualified applicants.
I mean, we could get this wage study back, and that 10,000 might not be enough, and that's, I think that's what
That's
we're
right.
thinking is.
That's right.
That's why I try to provide at least a current study of the top 10, the top 10 population of the state, as well as the local area for this position to consolidate.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna agree with, Councilperson Graham. I think we're investing in this wage study. I think it's a good investment for the county. It's gonna help us make some wise decisions. There's no doubt that I think there's a need for this position, and at the time, our goal is to pay appropriately and compensate our people, appropriately and competitively, even at the high end of the scale. I think that, with this investment we're making in the wage study, I would prefer to hold off, on a request, and other requests similar to this one at this point. But it's coming, it is coming.
Yeah, I think if we didn't have applicants, it would be a different, stance for me, but, if you're getting applicants at this now, I think we need to maintain it and let that person know that we're looking at it next year and it could be high. It's my opinion, I don't know.
But you may not be getting qualified because it's not worth them even applying.
Thankfully,
That's all I'm
we
saying.
said
He
it.
might be 100%, I mean.
Well, I'm just,
yeah.
Very
I throw it out there.
Well,
Okay.
do we look at doing, I mean, could doing a smaller bump, instead of 10, we do 5, something else. Just one out ideas.
Thanks.
All right, I'm gonna move on. So I don't hear a motion, and we'll be here for a little bit. So, EMA, there's a request of a new position in EMA, watch commander at $55,120. You guys have heard the pitch. It's in front of you.
Motion to deny.
There's a motion on the floor to deny. Don't necessarily have to do that, we can
No,
just
I'm just not
skip
gonna
it.
say nothing. I'm not putting my name out there.
Well,
There's a motion to deny. It's fine, it's, I mean,
There's
it's
a
fine,
second.
Sylvia.
There's a
There's a
second.
second. That's fine, Sylvia. Discussion? Discussion? All in favor of the motion to deny the request for an additional, position, watch commander, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. President, I would like,
Yes, sir.
if you got a moment, I'd like to bring up, Lance is here this evening, and I was discussing a problem with him. He's got a gentleman in his department that is his deputy director, and he's his number 2 in command, correct?
I think Lancey's asking you to come on up, so we're not gonna,
All right, I'll let you sell it. Tell us what's going on with it. And I, just so you guys know, I asked Lance to bring this to us.
fine.
Thanks. Yeah, we have our rank structure as director, deputy director, and then we have a hazardous materials commander, and then our admin. For several years now, the deputy director makes less than the hazardous materials team commander. However, the deputy director outranks him, so technically he supervises him, but makes less than him. And so, and this was asked in previous years, but what I'd like to get is parity for his rank position. And what I did years ago was I looked at different departments, and in particular the sheriff's department, and I looked at the pay average rank to rank. So I took all their ranks, figured out how much more each makes, and then averaged it, and it was about $3,000 per rank. Currently, Commander Eckhart, the hazardous materials team commander, is at 55,524 and 4 cents a year. Our deputy director, Mark Carlo, is at 51,061 and 92 cents. And what I would propose is that we increase his pay so that he's $3,000 above Commander Eckhart, which would put him in the proper rank structure versus the pay. So that would be an increase of $7,462.12. However, as you know, Homeland Security, through a grant every year, gives us a refund for half of the director, deputy director, and the admin salaries. So that would mean that half of that would be reimbursed, so it would only cost the county a little over $3,500 in order to give him that raise. But again, he supervises him technically. If I'm not here, he is the director, and he at times has to report to him, and he's making less than the person he's supervising.
So I'd make a motion to raise his salary to the 58,524.04 that was presented.
It'd be to 58,524, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
if I
sorry.
said it incorrectly, that's
Okay.
what my motion would be. And the reason is because the guy's his boss, and he's making less than the guy that works for him. So it's a concern to me. I understand that we're doing a wage salary study, and I think it's very important, and I think it's great that we're doing so. But I still think we're out of whack there. If the number 3 is making more than the number 2, it's a concern of mine. That's why I make my motion.
So there's a motion on the floor to adjust the deputy director of VMA up to, from $51,062 up to $58,524.
Lance, let me ask you a question. Number one, I mean, do you know how that happened? And number two would be, is it possible that the commander, am I saying that right, the commander is his or her pay in line, or are they making too much?
I would say his pay is in line because that is a specialty, and that's not just, a job that anybody could fill. And having done that type of job at US Steel, it is a specialty job. It's been like that since I've been here. I know years ago, hazmat was a separate department, and it may be from that and a legacy from that. I don't know. That's an assumption on my part.
I kind of believe that that's how it occurred, that hazmat was a separate department, and I feel as if that person is more or less the director of that department.
Well, we can say they're the director, but I'm still responsible for them, so I wouldn't call him a director because when something happens, I'm the one who has to answer for it. So if I'm not there, the deputy director is in my place and/or either in my absence or even if I'm around, he still falls under the deputy director. So it'd be equivalent to having a chief of a police, an assistant chief, and then a bomb squad commander, and the assistant chief is making less than the bomb squad commander. That's what it would equate to. And I think with that rank, there's a responsibility that goes with it. And answering to the commissioners and answering to a lot of different people, and we're responsible for what everybody under us does. So I think if you're responsible for that person under you, you should be making more than them, so.
Well, and a grant's gonna take care of half of it, which
Exactly.
makes it a little
It's-
easier to stomach, in my opinion.
All right, so there was a motion on the floor. I read it to you once. There's a motion on the floor to increase the deputy VMA to $58,524. Deputy director.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm just gonna add again, there's a need for this to happen. And I know you're getting the question, how did this happen? And, it was like, we asked that a lot
Yeah.
years ago. I still think I'm still gonna stay committed to the wage study. I really, might not be very popular, at this point, but, this is something that Lance is gonna be, taken care of. It's just, I think we're investing in this wage study, it's gonna be done, and really take a look at it. Again, I'm just trying to, as challenging as it is, just try and stick to that we made a decision as a council to do that. I know a lot of department heads have some things going on within their department, and and it's admirable for them to bring that to us to try and rectify, whether it's, been years in the making, but, these are the things we have to work on and correct. I guess I'm just gonna I still think we need to, this is a big investment for the county. I think it's spending our money wisely. It's giving compensation in a wise manner as a council. It's gonna, I think it's gonna help all of us, and I think I'd just like to see this wage study play out a little bit and kind of stay with that. I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, I keep saying this, we are gonna fix these things. And I know that, but there are some departments that don't have the luxury of having half of these salaries paid by, an outside agency. They're still looking to make some adjustments and give people what they should be getting paid. And I appreciate that too, that the cost isn't that impactful, but it's still just trying to stay somewhat consistent. That's all.
To reiterate Councilman Brickner, I think, Lance, there's oddities like that throughout many of the departments throughout the county, which does just reiterate reinforce the importance of this study that we're going to do. I think we'd be in a difficult position to offer, in this case, I don't know if it's a $7,000 increase to one person, and I'm not sure if that would be fair to the others until we find out what that, what that correct number would be. And I think part of, at least my thought process in terms of the premium pay that's offered to 2022 is to say, okay, we know wages in many cases aren't right. We know they need to be corrected. And in this particular case, the commander or the deputy director will receive a $4,000 premium. And I understand that doesn't fix his disparity between him and the commander, but at least it is I think a show of good faith that we are aware of those disparities and we're going to do everything we can to correct those going forward. I appreciate the request.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's similar to what happened to the 911 situation. We didn't give that increase.
What we did for jailers.
Huh?
We did for the jailers.
Yes.
And I guess I would just interject that,
That's fair.
that would be like saying the 911 deputy director is making less than a dispatcher. So I think there's a difference between saying they don't make enough money for their job title than making less than the people that work for them.
And to clarify, that's why I brought it
Yeah.
up and didn't vote for that, is because
Where were you last year?
Sir, I presented this before last year where we were told not to ask for anything, so I respected that order and did that. The year before, I requested just this. This and the extra position was turned down. The council voted both down.
So I think Andy is right. We did just approve some small increases, and my guess, just having conversations throughout, there may be some more sprinkled in here. I don't think we should be afraid to tackle some that we think are out of line. I think the wage study is going to hopefully let us, collectively bring every department in line, but I don't think we should be afraid to maybe tackle a few here and there tonight. So, as we already have done one. So, but,
well, thank you for coming in. Sorry for calling you down.
no, it's all right. That's what he's
Appreciate
supposed to do. Yeah, I'm struggling with this one myself right now, you guys. So, was there a second? I'll ask one more time. Was there a second on this one? All right, this one will die for lack of a second also. Prosecutor, we'll move on. Listen, if somebody has a change of heart, we're gonna be here for a little while. We'll get through as fast as we can, but there can always be a lower ask. Prosecutor, I think there was a lot going on here, requesting 3 deputy prosecutors, 3 court managers, and quite a bit of raises in there if you go to the summary also. So there's special raises, there's 6 new employees requested, and I don't have the pages numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe page 6. There's quite a few raises in here, at some extensive amounts. So, we have the prosecutor in front of us, that we pushed off also, a lot going on. So I'll entertain a motion or not for the prosecutor.
I'd like to make a motion, in light of, or in spirit of, the multiple requests and the, comprehensive information that, has been provided throughout the year, from the prosecutor's office. It's clear to me that this is, one specific department that is, and it's not the only one, but it's one that is, in my opinion, woefully underpaid. And, you know, obviously, like all departments, these positions are, critical to the county, and in order to, attract and retain, the appropriate, level of prosecutor, you know, I think we need to be very, cognizant of the fact that we have to make sure that we pay, as much as we can to have the right people in place. Now, it's also clear to me that in terms of additional prosecutors, and that sort of thing, in my view, we're clearly not in a position to add prosecutors, to the county payroll at this point, but I would like to see some sort of assistance to the prosecutor's office to at least offer some help to, make sure that, the prosecutor's in a position to, retain the, highest level deputy prosecutors in his office. Because I think there's a need, and that's a highly specialized, position that, I don't think, I think we need to be very, very careful with. So I guess to kick off the discussion, what I'd like to do is make a motion to offer the, an amount of $25,000 to be offered to the prosecutor's office to be, divided up among, the prosecutors that he has, in the way that he sees, fit. So, motion $25,000 for the prosecutor's office to divide out among whichever deputy prosecutors he'd like to do. However he would determine.
Take that 25.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't work well?
so Mike, this goes to,
You got a motion, I'll second.
there's a motion and a second on the floor for $25,000. I think how would we do that, Vicki? I mean, wouldn't you have to specify exactly?
That's what I'm asking. Is this a bonus to be given out as he sees fit? Like, he also has a bonus plan already? Or
This would be
is this
specifically a
just
salary
salary?
increase.
Okay, so he would need to give us the
Right.
salaries
Yep.
before we prepare the salary ordinance.
Right.
It would be changing the base.
Yep.
he said.
Absolutely.
And
So is
another
that-
point of order, for all these, any of these changes, they also get the stipend, correct? That's
Correct.
just one.
Well, Gary, maybe you can help us out here a little bit? Yeah, come on up, please, sir, thank you. And please, the motions, correct me if I'm going about this wrong. Are there, I think they're looking at, and I've had a few conversations, I think they're looking at helping go in that direction of, they're assuming that maybe some of your prosecutors are gonna be underpaid, and the study's gonna come back and say yes. They're trying to begin that leapfrog in that direction. and I think it's maybe the high level, certainly, whoever's dealing with murders and rapes and child molestation and that, are there, correct me if I'm wrong, are there any, this $25,000 that they're putting on the table, it would appear, I mean, could you tell us right now, could you tell the auditor, where do you want that to go?
Not right this minute, but I would say I would rather, it's kind of multi-leveled, but we do not pay our entry-level prosecutors what Lake County pays by a difference of about $7,000 or $8,000. And the last time I was here, I talked about the intern that we had who was from Hebron, who will be a second-year lawyer making $72,000 a year come January 1st in Tippecanoe County. So I'm concerned if some of those lower-paid lawyers start to get experience and then leave, I'm not going to be able to replace them. So the first Band-Aid or the first aid right now is to, I think, start to pay some of the newer lawyers that we have in our office as opposed to some of the higher-paid ones. And what we really need are 3 higher-paid lawyers in the areas that you talked about. And that was a mistake I made when I submitted the amount, because I would rather have 3 higher-paid lawyers handling those kinds of cases in our upper-level felony courts. But that's just sort of, hearing the motion for the first time, that's my initial reaction. I don't know if that helps you, hurts me, or whatever, but that's my reaction.
I don't think it hurts you.
Yeah, because as I said before, I'm getting to the point where I may be faced with hiring the bottom half or the bottom third of the law school class, and I'm not going to do it. You wouldn't do it if you needed a
I
lawyer.
really want to make a lawyer joke, but I'm gonna retain, I'm gonna
Harold's here, you don't
hold
Go right
myself,
ahead.
I'll hold myself.
Go right ahead, because
Don't do it, Jeremy, don't do it, Jeremy.
you have to drive home, Jeremy.
So, oh, go,
So
no.
let me ask you this, Gary, and understanding that you need higher paid people at the top, you need higher paid people at the middle, you need more,
Yes.
I get all that. If you were given a total of $25,000, would you be able to, over the course of this meeting, tell us where you'd see that $25,000 go to the base pay? And that's where it's up to you. It's either the top folks or the entry-level folks or whatever. Would that $25,000 be helpful to get you at least a marginal step closer to where you ultimately?
Yes, I'd have to take a look at the list of what we're paying them now that I did not bring with me. I don't have that, but Vicki, I think, could give me that. I could probably do it by the end of the.
I don't think, is that,
That's it.
all right,
That's not enough people.
That isn't it?
Detail tonight. You might want it tonight, but we don't need it. We'll just up the appropriation, but as long as we have it before the salary ordinance is presented. And we're not presenting the salary ordinance tonight. Not with all these changes, no.
So the way we're discussing it, if he wanted to give all this to one person, he
morning.
could, right?
by the
If he
middle-
wanted to
middle
give
of the
all
month.
$25,000 to one person, he could do that by the
Sure.
way we set it up.
I say give that flexibility
Let that
to
responsibility, yeah.
the prosecutor.
It's not gonna happen, but okay.
Well, just clear.
Sure, no, that's, understand.
You're on the hot seat, you're in public, and now you're talking about raises for all these people.
Sure, no,
It's
I'm
a
glad to do it.
Difficult discussion.
No, I'm glad to do
he's
it.
been doing it for a couple of
My
years.
clients are all sitting behind me right now listening to this, so I understand.
All right, so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a motion to bump the salary line item up $25,000. And I think the auditor indicated, we don't have to approve the salary ordinance tonight, just by the end of the year, Madam Auditor.
Correct.
So we can do that in November, December. So there's a motion on the floor to increase the salary line item by $25,000. What's the bottom line then of the prosecutor? General fund budget.
$1,155,941.
So that's the motion. In a second, further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Well, you know what? While you're here, I guess, everybody gets their little,
Okay.
who they want to draw and who priority. I remember, I made this comment myself. There were some 4D salaries that I believe that was Laura brought. And some go into her letter here, in the general fund. Yeah, that prosecutor 4D, there you are, thank you. So, there's a line item, part-time prosecutor in the amount of 17,000. This can be used for staff raises. Additionally, there is 32 salary position funding that can be used. So, you wanna go over this real fast again, because it intrigued me when I saw some of these pay. What are you looking to do here?
Sure, so when I submitted which raises, we have a large disparity between the very bottom and the top, so I kinda wanted to equal that out. That's why it's not like a flat dollar amount per person across the board, so I'm trying to get that equaled out,
Okay,
for one.
And-
And then we have already built into the budget, into the general fund, $17,000, so that can be used to pay for a large chunk of that. And then I also have a salary budget out of another account that could be used to pay for the remainder. It's real close, it might be a couple $100.
so I'm going to your letter here, and yeah, I see that there's 4,000, 4,006, 6, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, and this is to get, and these are all, this is all child support caseworkers dealing with that. And so you have some entry level at 31,000, 32, 33, people 35, 36. And this, and you have all this, and, well, you said, remind me, but you do have a line item in the general fund, but it's not being used? Are you?
Correct.
I know, again, this caught my attention. These are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in this county that are working, on behalf of parents to go after child support. Pay $31,000, $32,000, $33,000, $35,000. So,
Are you thinking about all of it, or are you thinking about a portion of it? What were your thoughts on it?
I thought she found a way to pay for it, kind of something, we're encouraging. We encouraged through the process. She found a way to pay for it that's not gonna increase the general fund, and again, we could say no, wait on the wage study, but I think now we've just hit 2 budgets that we're giving increases to. I don't know, I don't, this one glared at me a little bit.
Can I ask you, if you take these people to all a similar wage, are they gonna be mad, like somebody's been working there longer type of thing? Like, why should he make more than me because he's been there longer?
No, for the most part, when people are promoted from within, they've usually been there longer and know the stuff longer, for the most part. And if you look at not to throw anybody else under the bus, but if you look at the clerk's
But you are going to.
salaries- I'm going to. If you look at the clerk's salaries and even the criminal prosecutor's office salaries,
A lot of glares coming from the
my
audience.
people are $7,000-8,000 below.
And as a reminder, this is an office that produces. They're one of the top producing offices in the state of Indiana in terms of amount of money that they collect from delinquent parents.
I didn't know that.
That's why, I mean, it's,
I'd make a motion to accept everything she's asking for, half of it. Let's do half of it now and then wait for the wage study.
So what number are you looking at?
I don't know, what's 46,000 divided by half? 23,000? Is that correct? You were asking for 46,000?
Yes.
My motion is half everything, 23,000.
You have the money to pay for it.
I'd second that.
there's a
Do
motion
something
on the
for it.
floor in a second, so it's basically, if I hand this to the auditor, or this is, I mean, they're presenting to just cut all these in half, and then I don't know how then you would,
And then I would ask that the 17,000 that's budgeted in the general fund would pay, and then, so then we're looking at 6,000, then will come out of 8897.
okay?
Yeah, she's at $17,052 in the hourly line item. That's salaries, and then the balance is 8897.
So no impact to the general fund.
That's correct, right? I mean, it was an opening, that there was money that wasn't being used,
That's correct.
so there's no increase to the general fund.
The half, would you make that work? It's.
I'm sure she's not gonna say
No,
no.
it's not right, it's not where
Well,
you
but
wanna
if
be.
more doesn't impact the
It
general
gives us
fund,
something now.
Right.
then why don't we just go higher? It doesn't impact it.
I didn't know if you guys would be.
What's the difference?
Well, because, I mean, nothing, there's not a difference, it's the debate up here is,
Oh,
do you wait for the,
In all fairness.
wait
But I
study?
think,
departments.
but I think the emotion was unclear as to where the money was coming from. But now that we know it's not coming from general fund,
I changed my motion, I'm not against it, it doesn't hurt, I mean, the general fund or me, do you wanna change your second?
I would actually, yeah, I would concur.
All right, I'd move to accept it as is, the 46,000. Jeff, amend my motion, or change my motion.
And I would, yeah, make a second,
I just thought that's when.
with no impact to the general fund.
There's a motion, a second on the floor, they both amended their motions to include the full raises all the way down the request.
That was
Yes,
the new
you're
motion,
fine,
yeah.
yes, yep, it's
What's that?
nothing. I mean, this is what, we wanted to push everything off, we gotta make decisions, and here we are, making decisions.
Yeah, I would, part of my comment would be, I think, and I would trust that the wage study would give us, good clarification on where that pay should be, to find out, and it certainly does seem low, no question about it. But it's, if you look at some of these increases, it's 4,000, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 4, to as much as, if we're including executive administration, is that part of it?
It's like 8,000, yeah.
That's an $8,000
Quite a bit.
increase. And then the thought would be, on top of that, everyone would be getting an additional 3,000. That's
But that's
pretty,
just a one-time thing, then it disappears after that year, so.
oh yeah, no, I
know.
understand that, but that's a pretty sizable, percentage increase as it relates to, equity and fairness for other folks throughout the county. Just
Well,
throw that
but
out
to
there.
that extent, the other don't have the luxury of not hitting the general fund. This is a unique situation. They've been underpaid for quite a while. They do one heck of a job, as we heard. All those years of being underpaid compared to the other,
Yeah, we have a motion and a second for the full amount.
seems to make sense.
Yeah, I just, well, we just gotta pay attention then, because E911 wasn't gonna hit the general fund, so if we, I mean, I would just try to be as consistent as you can, so, but. Surcharge, so, be consistent, or don't be consistent, I mean, you all have to answer to the voters,
I think
so.
that, I'm just gonna add, and Gary, we appreciate, you know, everything that you do, and so this is a work in progress. I mean, this is.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to chip away at this whole wage, raises, and the goal is to have us, you know, at the top of the market.
I mean,
And, in your office is
Yeah.
a big part of that. You
Yeah.
said this, I don't think it's gonna happen in one, it's not gonna happen in one fell swoop. You know, I guess I'm just gonna stay with,
Yeah,
trying to stay consistent with, I mean, this is something that's gonna be coming, and
Yeah.
we're working on it. Again, you know, we're investing in this, and we wanna compensate our people, but, you know, again, coming back to just trying to stay, you know, just stay, you know, stay with the idea of,
Yeah.
stay with the study, this is gonna happen, and, but to try and
All
fix
right.
everything, I think in one night is gonna be.
Sure.
difficult to do.
And I agree, you know, I'm struggling, because there's a few that I definitely would like to give the full amount of raise, I don't know. This one, no, I just brought it up because I think what they do and the low pay, but if you add 8 and then 3 or 4, that's a lot. I'll call a roll call vote on this. I mean, I would probably be more inclined to go half right now. I definitely would vote for something, but with the,
Yeah, we're talking as much as 25 to 30% pay increases.
yeah. So, can we get a roll call vote, Madam Auditor?
And this is for the full amount.
This is for the full amount.
Councilmember Jessen,
No.
Councilmember Paparad, Councilmember Sims,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas,
No.
Councilmember Bozick,
Yes?
Councilmember Brickner,
No.
and Councilmember Graham.
No.
So the vote is 4 noes, 5 noes and 2 yays.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept, or to raise half of the original motion, 23,000 to them, half of everything they're asking for.
I second that.
There's another motion, a second on the floor. Can we get a roll call on that? If there's any discussion, I think we discuss. Roll call.
Councilmember Paparad. Yes. Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
Yes.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
7-0. We have,
Stepping in the right direction.
Step.
Yes.
We're moving forward, all right?
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is, I know there is, so I really appreciate everything
Yes.
that you're doing, and I know I've talked a lot about the wage study and how important I think that is, not just for our office, but for the county as a whole. So I really appreciate the stuff that's been taken, because it's a huge undertaking, I know that it is. May I address one additional issue
No,
while I'm here?
absolutely. Yes,
There
sir.
are 4 employees that are paid out of our infraction deferral fund and our pretrial diversion fund. And when I've been here, I've suggested that those salaries be moved to the general fund because it potentially creates an ethical issue for us. And that we raise that money by the cases that we negotiate, some from traffic tickets that are issued to the people who live here. So I do not want to be in the position that to raise money to pay ourselves, we either have to encourage more tickets to be issued, or instead of issuing tickets, instead of issuing warnings, that the officers issue traffic citations. It's a small thing, but when I was here a couple years ago, there were tons of salaries that were being paid out of infraction deferral, and we moved those then. And I think it was, again, a gradual step toward ultimately eliminating those employees from being paid from those funds that we raise in our office. Now, our expenses are increasing, and we use all those monies to pay all our trial expenses, our expert fees, deposition fees, witness attendance fees, and those equipment, everything else is paid from those funds. Finally, I think Vicki can tell you that the infraction deferral fund is starting to hit finally into the black. We've been doing very well for the past 3 months. So that's just something for you to think about. I just put it out there because I think that's one thing that really needs to be changed.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, the next one I had down was coroner. Now, I think this was just a rate change per call-out, $25 to $50. I think that's all.
I'd make a motion to accept the 25 to 50.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor for the 25 to 50. And just for my clarification, this is they're paid, what?
9,000?
9,000, I think. Each of them are paid 9,000 to be on call.
Yeah, right around there, right around there.
Right around 9,000 to be on call, and then if they actually do get called, they're getting $25, and the request is to bump it to 50. So,
Call the vote, let's go.
just wanted to clarify that. So, all right, is there any discussion on this rate change for call-outs from 25 to 50? All right, all in favor of that rate change signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. I think it was 5 to 2, did it sound like? What's that?
2 noes.
No? We get a roll call, Madam Auditor.
And just to clarify, this is just to change the rate, not the appropriation, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
No.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
No.
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Paparad. No.
Okay,
I have 4 yays and 3 nays.
that's what I got. We're good. All right, I think that's it. Health, right? I'm gonna keep going. Health Department. All right, you guys, this was presented like at least 5 times.
I'd make a motion to accept the way it's presented.
Second.
It's a motion and a second on the Health Department to present all the changes that was presented at a regular council meeting and then again during second reading.
And thank you guys for presenting it twice.
It's a motion and a second on the floor. Additional discussion. I'll let everybody gather themselves. We're moving around. Anybody needing clarification on anything?
Yeah, where's that?
All right. Health, it was, yeah, it's in your, it should be in your red, yeah. So. So Letty, this was just, I guess to recap, as Mike trying to look, this is just, you had an opening and you were lowering that opening and then you had some money, then you were moving that around. I think you might have, I have a terrible memory, but I think it's sanitarian that you were increasing to equalize those sanitarian, yeah, it's an equal amount. And then I think you had a little bit left over and you kind of were equalizing or moving that amount, but the end of, your budget didn't increase a penny, right?
No,
Motion on the floor, any further discussion? All in favor, to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Do you guys know the changes? Are you aware? I think they were presented a couple times. I usually know when we're in trouble.
Restore the, total
Let it go
salary to
slow.
the adopted
When
amount of 20.
Tiffany gives that look, like,
That position's wrong.
I'm not good yet.
Do we need to change anything? Like, no, we don't, we're good. And so the total for the health department fund is $2,139,712.
Would you repeat that, Vicki, please?
$2,139,712.
Thank you.
Is that right? Letty, does that seem right, what you were looking for?
Yes. Okay, that's right.
All right, we'll move on. We'll keep rolling. Auditor. Health Department. There's some requests from the auditor in front of you. Keep moving. No, no.
Whoa, you got approved already.
Yeah, you sure you want another bite at this apple?
Roll back.
Different apple.
All right, go ahead.
It kind of just brought to my attention is that, so we met and we said we were gonna increase our budget, which we really didn't, we just moved money around. Normally, we do the part-time staff about $1 increase, but that's not that's grant money, that's not from the funds.
It's not changing the bottom line in the general fund, it's using, you're not changing the bottom line in any of the grant funds, it's just increasing the part-timers up. No,
So you,
just increasing them as hours.
you're
From
asking,
what to what?
Did, they have that?
I don't have that. I'm sure I do in this book somewhere. Said, I'm sure I have that somewhere in this book
so
somewhere.
which, who are you looking for? Which one?
It's non-general fund, you said?
Yeah, it's a nudge for you.
Oh, all of them. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not all of them,
Yeah,
just the
there's
ones that
like
are.
the first 4 and then one down the very bottom.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Can you give this,
Is this,
So that's a-
5 people.
was this in your budget?
no, I don't believe we saw this, no.
This is something that can wait till Vicki and them do the salary ordinance when we vote on all of it, correct? We don't have to tackle that tonight, or do we do, or?
Well, I would say we do so that they can input it into the salary ordinance for approval. You're just asking to increase your hourly, per hour, not your hourly line item.
Right.
So you've got to manage, and that's, we've got a couple of those other ones in front of us. I would just let everybody know that if we approve an increase in your hourly, just remember, you got to manage that hourly line item. We're not increasing, you know.
And that's one thing
So-
that the staff that's a part-time that's under that understands, we made it perfectly clear, if the funds go away from the grant, so does that salary, so do you.
Ouch.
It is what it is.
So there was an increase of the top, I think if you guys go to your page of the 144, you said the top 4 and the bottom one?
Appreciate that.
You're just asking for $1 increase per hour in hourly rate?
They're the up to amount.
The up to amounts, so it would be 22, 26, 18, and 26?
And then the clerical assistant up to 14 too.
Yeah, top four and then bottom, okay. There's a request.
I mean, it's not hitting the bottom line. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
There's a motion to up hourly in the health department. Just the per hour, not the hourly line item. Motion a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No more.
Take the mic away.
Take the mic away.
Auditor,
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
do you want to skip this right now? Do you want to wait? You want to do it now?
No, we can
Skip it and come back to you. We'll come back to you so that you can worry, yeah, let's focus on you guys staying on task and us. Clerk, so we'll come back to auditor a little bit. So there's clerk, there was a pile here for clerk. So we've got clerk and Board of Elections. So the clerk, I think we already had some action. You guys go to the front page. We had moved an employee from general fund to perpetuation. That was like a records person. And then she's requesting, bless you, a bunch of increases. So,
Are we looking at the Board of Elections or both of
we
them?
can look at both of them. Clerks, we can start with clerk, it's the next one in front of you. So she did move somebody out of the general fund into perpetuation. I think that was a savings to the general fund. So, and then she's asking for some raises, probably with that money that she saved in the general fund.
Yeah? It's a
So-
wash? I can't remember.
Clerk's budget was a wash. So looks like there's a $2,000 raise, a $10,000 raise. There it is on the side. 1,393, it's like 576, 756, 1,600, 35, 5,000. These are all in the clerks. Apparently, and another department too.
Oh, another one too.
You heard Laura, right? So there's clerk budget in front of you. Mr. Brickner, you want to give your spiel? I'm not hearing anything, so, they ask, can't fault them for asking. Chief Finance Deputy, looks like 9,000, so the clerk's budget's in front of you.
I think there was some red flags raised that it would put her department out of line with other departments, which I haven't studied because I'm not a salary ordinance guy.
That's why the auditor.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that. I know that chief finance deputy, I think, is the one that was brought up. Will be on.
Who's that? You want the clerk up? We can call the clerk up. Come on up. I just said at the beginning, we wouldn't call him up unless we had a question, so.
Hello.
From my understanding, the history of my chief deputy was forced, her salary was forced up from previous administration, and the finance person kind of got lost in the middle. And this person is the one who runs not only our State Board of Accounts audit, but our Child Support Bureau audit, all of our bank accounts, all of our reconciling. She travels to all 3 of our locations. And that's, in a nutshell, she manages all of the training of our child support. 2 years ago, we took child support at 1 location. There was 1 person to manage, 1 time study to manage, and now we are taking child support at 3 different locations in an effort to make it easier for people to pay their child support. And all of that means that we now have 16 people, which means 16 different time studies, 16 different people to go over the monthly expense claims with our consultant and everything else. I mean, a gigantic position. She's also in charge of all the 1099s for all of the attorneys, so it's not just finance. But in addition to that, she does all of our bank reconciliations. She works with the auditor's office to make sure all the claims are paid to the correct accounts. Every time a new account, when you guys make a new account, those fees come into us. We then have to contact Odyssey, have to contact Quest, get into them, get those accounts registered, make sure that they're being paid the appropriate line items. So this past week, we did a shift to a new court system, and the court system started spitting out random fees that did not align with anything. So she spent 3 days doing adjustments to people's line items that it doesn't give the clerk's office anything, but it makes sure that the correct money was allocated to the sheriff's department fees. So her job is very much needed and she is definitely the chief finance officer. Like I said, she manages all 3 offices. So whether it's
What is her salary now, present salary?
45, I believe.
45,613, and she's asking to go to 55.
Jessica, I do want to applaud you for how you've come up with paying for all this and without increasing the general fund. However, I do feel as if this person probably does deserve, she might have been left behind from a previous administration, but I personally feel that I would like to wait for this. We have put a lot of money into this study that we're going to be doing, this time study.
I understand that, but as has already been said, it might be 1 year, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years to get them up to the study.
Believe me, we've paid a lot of money for this study coming up. We are going to pay attention to it. I just feel as if we're kind of spinning our wheels. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we can't be afraid to make decisions. That's our job. I think the study's gonna help us. I mean, we've been sitting up here for years and years. We make decisions based upon the information we have. The study's gonna give us more information, but I don't think we should be afraid to make decisions. Tonight, if we think it should go in a direction, Jessica, unless this thing comes back and says we're underfunding our employees by $3 or $4 million, I mean, I would hope, while we're trying not to spend the general fund this year specifically, that it's definitely gonna get us the room to make whatever. If there's some drastic adjustments, the sooner we do it, the better. But if it comes back and says, yeah, everybody's underpaid and we gotta make up $3 million, it probably would take a couple of years. But, we'll have to see what it says. I don't know, Mike, when you guys did yours, I mean, was it something you were able to tackle in a single year to make those adjustments?
No, I mean, in some cases probably yes, but in other cases it's a multi-step
Yeah.
goal that you get to because it's comprehensive, and I don't think there's anything that's going to happen overnight, but it's a process that you work for.
Fair enough. So,
Jessica, let me ask you. So, the chief finance deputy, how long has that person been in that role?
She's been there, I think, all in all, over 15 years.
So for 15 years, and has that always been the title, or is part of this the title?
No, it was, it's a change. She was called the accounting coordinator, and she does so much more than that. So I wanted to change the position. She's been with the county over 25 years, but in this position.
And has her job description changed
Completely.
Most recently with a suggested?
Yeah, in 2019, I wanted to do, or 2008, yeah, 2019, I wanted to do some adjustments, but that was my first year in, and then 2020, I was asked not to do anything, so she's already waited for 3 years. And the pay across the clerk's office has already been unfair for 3 years. And this way, it is budget neutral. I'm not asking for anything else in this budget from the general fund. I'm instead putting it into my perpetuation fund, which puts it back on the staff.
And thank you for doing it.
We didn't touch the county fund for 4D either, which the clerk is entitled to touch, so.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, so. That's what I was trying to find.
Make a motion for half this year, and she does not get the stipend.
Are you only moving for the chief finance deputy or all of them?
No, that's just that.
Hold on.
Sorry, Bob, what was the motion, Bob?
Half this year, and she does not get the stipend. Did you get that?
I'll second that.
What do you want?
Okay,
So she actually gets a raise
yes.
versus a second, plus a little extra.
There's a motion, a second on the floor.
That
For the-
doesn't put her out of whack with other chief finance deputies in the county, so that's why I seconded it.
There's a motion, a second for under the clerk's budget, the chief financial deputy to receive half of that, or, yes? Half of the 9,387, but there's a stipulation of that motion that that person does not receive the $3,000 stipend. Further discussion on that? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, there's other requests in front of you from the clerk.
The two larger ones on there is the portage coordinator and the traffic child support coordinator. Why are you looking to raise them? Are you just evening them out, or?
I'm putting them into the position. We don't currently have anyone at Portage. It has been requested that somebody be a head person at Portage, and with all the extra traffic and child support that's coming through, we need somebody to assist with the easier questions.
All right. Any other motions, recommendations on the clerk's budget? Any other on the clerk? Take the silence as a no. Board of Elections, we'll keep her up here. There's a director increase, assistant director, and 2 deputy increases. I know this one went through some changes over the last couple of years, and I think Jessica, did the director take a pay cut?
Yes.
You took a big cut.
No, the director of elections took a pay cut when we merged the boards and they became in charge of elections and registration.
They went from what to what? I'm sorry. And did the assistant director take a pay cut as well?
No, but she needs to stay within 2,000 of the director.
She needs to stay within?
That's what it's usually been. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
what, I'm sorry, what did you say?
By code, she has to be $2,000
Oh, okay.
less.
I didn't know.
So in 2019, or in 2018, she made 50,960. In 2020, she went to 50,470.
So just
So then with the raises that have been given, she's 2021 at $51,984. But they are now in charge of elections and registration and everything that goes with that.
I don't really see the pay cut. It was only $500 pretty much. Is that what you were talking about when you said pay cut?
Yeah, but if you give the raises on top of that, she's still underpaid compared to what she was.
And I think you guys do a great job in that department, and things have really gone well. I commend you guys. I would personally wait for the wage study on this. I mean, we're giving them increases with the stipend, and it's not a low salary in my opinion. It could always be higher, but it's just my thought.
Board of Elections in front of you. Board of Elections in front of you. I'll take the silence as an answer. Thank you, Jessica. Was there something else?
Well, you already moved my perpetuation fund to give 2 people at $45,000. So now 2 of my coordinators are gonna make $45,000 and the other ones, I just don't have them. Okay.
No,
That'll make things easier.
just kind of digesting what you just said. What? We already did it with the,
You
are you
already
talking
approved the
deputies?
perpetuation fund to have 2 people coming out of it at $45,000 apiece.
No, no,
That was done at the second reading.
no.
We just
That's
moved,
not been approved?
No, it was at the same salary, the 2021 salary.
we just moved the person from the general fund into perpetuation. There was no salary increase.
I don't remember,
Yeah, I mean, I think because they followed probably the direction to not give any raises, so they moved the, yeah, the current salary, not the requested increase as she moved him over, so,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
all right,
Thank you.
so there was a change in the, we voted on that already, so, all right. All right, let's keep moving then. Everything good? We voted on everything? Got lost in that. Clerk's done. We're getting somewhere. May not seem like it. Board of Elections done. County Assessor, this is where I ran out of my notes a little bit, guys. So County Assessor, there's requests in here. I think it was just some hourly stuff. Rate change, looks like 12, it was 12 to 15, up to 25 now.
Yeah.
Part-time office, part-time commercial, up 21.50 to 25. John, is that correct? Yes, sir. Local statement. So there's just some hourly, increase requests, but again, I would, if this passes, or there's a motion and it passes, that understand that your hourly line item isn't changing, managed within that line item, your increase per hour. So, there's a request in front of you, just to move up hourly.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor, further discussion. All in favor of the request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There we go. All right, IT, right? No, Portage Township Assessor, I'm sorry, we're sticking with that, I'm trying to stay on path here. The Portage Township Assessor, there was a request, stick around, John, if you would. The assessor wanted to move somebody from, the, reassessment fund into the, general fund. So is there any interest in that? Is there any interest in that? Is that the assessment specialist, if I'm correct? New employees, because that would be in the general fund, moving the assessment specialist from part-time in the reassessment to full-time in the general fund? Any interest in that? Hearing none, there was also another request, I believe, by the Portage Township Assessor. John, this is where I get a question. I don't, is Alta's here, okay. Add one level 3 stipend, 4,000 at 1,000 each to 5 at. Alta, you wanna explain real fast what this, Can you come up for a second? We can't back there, sorry. No, it's okay. There was this added.
Part-timer, that's, I was gonna request for part-time. She's currently getting her level 3. So she's getting $1,000 right now for the level 2, and though she will get another $1,000 for the level 3. And I'm short $1,000.
I gotcha. So you need another 1,000
So
for the,
when will she graduate to get?
Well, she's taking the classes right now, so she should have it sometime next year, or this year, depends on.
okay. Madam
Got a couple
Auditor,
more classes to take.
was there something?
We just were having a little discussion.
Okay.
about what the state requirements are.
Okay,
So, did you want me to?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
We just came back from our auditor conference, and this was actually a pretty big discussion topic. The state law was changed a few years ago, and it created a lot of confusion. There's no longer a requirement for a stipend. What it is, however, is that in state law, since we're talking about deputies, we won't talk about elected assessors. If you're a level 2 or a level 3, you have to make at least $500 more than the person who is not a level 2 or level 3. However, I asked the question, can the county have its own policy? And the answer is yes. In our policy is that we do give a stipend for these level 2s and 3s. So I wanted to explain that to you because we've been giving this stipend for years and years, but the law has changed, and that was clarified last year that it's no longer required, but as part of the salary structure, we have to boost the pay up by either 500 or 1,000, depending on what we're talking about. So we're going to be adding that language in the salary ordinance per the State Board of Accounts. I don't know if that changes anything here. That's what we were just talking about.
But Alton, in your case, you have one more person that's gonna reach additional certification. and
Right,
Everybody else
yeah.
that's reached that gets an extra $1,000
Right,
stipend.
yes,
So you're asking just for $1,000?
right, for the increase, because I think
But that-
like I said, I don't have my
It
paperwork,
was
but I think.
4 at 1,000 each, going to 5 to 1,000 each. That's what I'm reading.
well, yeah, so she's moving up a level, so she'll need to pay 5 of them. It'll be
So
the,
I got 1, 2,
5 different people will get that $1,000.
Right, it's $5,000.
so I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of us will be a level 3, so that is 10,000, and where am I at right now? I don't have my paperwork, so I don't know where I'm at right now. And I got 1 for this, given the 1,000.
You want
I
this?
think I'm at 10.
Is that what you're looking for?
right now.
You don't want that?
I have 1 that's a level 2. And I have 1 that's a level 2, and I have 5 of us at, level 3. So I need 11,000. I don't know if I'm.
And that wasn't part of your budget? We didn't already take care of that?
No, we do that over and out. Because, yeah, nothing was approved for me.
and this is out of reassessment.
Right.
So what's level 2 receive right now?
2.
Yeah, I'm
So I
trying to,
have
the numbers
5
aren't
of
adding
us.
up.
And
That will be, so that will be 10, and then I have 1 that's a level 2, she gets 1,000. So that's 11,000, and I was short.
Okay, so let me ask, I'd like to know, why isn't this in your budget? There's no way to include these?
They're the same.
Do you have a line item for certification?
They're the same.
No, I don't have that, I just,
1,000, 3,
I never had to, because I've always had the money to pay it, it's always been there, but now I have 1 extra person
times 6.
getting the level 3, so now I just need an increase.
The levels are
I
showing.
guess I could take it out of my, sorry, I don't have my, I don't have
No,
my paper.
I'm trying to, so a couple of questions, I'm sorry. I mean,
I'm done, she said she could possibly take it out of the line item.
John, is this something that the county assessor does too?
The only difference is we've always applied it to full-time employees and not part-time, so I don't know if the ordinance, I thought there was a distinction between part-time and full-time, I don't know.
That I didn't know, so,
That,
We want to keep it uniform.
right, so we would have part-time employees that don't receive the stipend.
You have that now?
We do, yes.
Okay, so then, yeah.
So if we approve this, you'll be coming for,
What, you guys need to talk more, I think. I feel like you guys don't talk enough.
that I didn't know. Well, she's getting 1,000 right now for the level 2, so that are you gonna take that away from her then?
I don't think it was authorized to go to her, was it?
I didn't know anything about it, I didn't know that there was a difference
It's the-
between the part. I just assumed, I thought that each person that got their levels, we got it. I had heard nothing else
All right.
besides that.
all right, now
Does it
that,
say in the salary ordinance?
Defeat the same purpose by increasing the hourly rate.
if
Would
you
it-
want to change this policy.
Higher hourly rate for her level 2 or level 3 part-time?
I gotcha. So what I think they're saying is you could probably do the same thing if that's the policy, we're not giving it to part-time, then you could pay the part-time person more by having different levels, is that, that, right now,
Given an increase in salary.
I'm sorry?
You're not gonna give an increase in salary, because her salary's
Alright.
at 26 right now, so are you gonna make that 27? I mean, because she's currently at getting 1,000, so do I take it away from her?
That's a tough one, and it goes back to if John has part-timers and they're not getting it.
Yes, I did not
No,
know.
I'm not blaming
I know,
anybody.
I know,
I'm saying-
but since I didn't know the rule, what
I assume
do
that'll
do
ruffle some
now?
feathers for you, correct?
Making it more complicated or not communicating.
Not necessarily, no. If I wasn't asked, I wouldn't have answered. That's just, I don't know if that's our own internal policy or if that's some other type of policy. I don't know. I'd have to go back and research how the stipend ever came into place and who it was intended for. But it was just our understanding that it was for full-time.
could you share that research with all of us when you're done?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Have it tonight, midnight.
All right, I'll listen for my Bing on my phone.
Yeah, we might still be here, holy cow.
All right. So it's up to what you guys want to do. If you want more clarification, not have any action, again, I guess and don't take it wrong because I'm not a very bright guy, but it's 4 at 1,000 and then you're trying to change it to 5 at 1,000. I'm looking at the salary, the 144. Level 2, you have 6 people at level 2. Looks like getting 1,000. Level 3, you have 4 people getting 1,000. I'm seeing the same number, 1,000 and 1,000, from level 2 to level 3. What am I missing? Am I missing this? Am I reading it wrong? I'm more confused.
It's the same way that our auditor.
My chief deputy it gets 1,000.
So he gets 1,000 at level 2 plus another 1,000
Oh,
at level
it
3.
bumps. Gotcha.
Get 2,000
Gotcha.
for each person.
In addition to,
The level, yeah.
all right, phew, I told you I'm not very bright. All right, I get it now.
Yeah, I don't. So I suggest, can we hold this off till our final?
We don't have to take action. I mean, it's up
I
to,
mean, I don't understand,
Okay.
You get
what we're
$1,000
asking
for each
or
level.
how it does or doesn't relate to the county, the assessor's office.
Yeah, 'cause I knew
Talk
nothing
about
about that.
stipends, part-time, full-time, and, I think we need to spend some time
Okay.
fully better understanding what we're doing, unless someone can articulate it so I understand it.
Okay, I haven't been able to do. So, all right.
Is that a motion?
Well, I don't think there was a motion on the floor.
Well, if you take that 1,000 away from her that she's getting now, I'm gonna have
I
to.
don't think
We didn't
anybody
say
said
we're doing
that.
No.
No, I know, but if.
All right.
We're trying to understand it, so
Yep.
if we can get our hands around it and understand it, we can still make this happen. We just
Right.
have to.
So, all right, is there an interest? I'll entertain a motion one way or another. If not, silence will be my answer.
No, but she is gonna come back with more information, correct, and break this
So
down.
do we need to table it?
Get together with you guys.
I said table it till the final.
Well, I mean, I guess they're growling over there, but I suppose it's only a small
Well,
adjustment.
If we're changing just the rate is one thing, we can put it off to the salary ordinance, but if we're actually going to appropriate $1,000 more, we better do it tonight, because this is final adoption, we're not postponing anymore.
All right, and if it's not in the salary ordinance, she couldn't pay it, right?
Well, you can still add it to the salary ordinance, but we're not changing the appropriation, so if we're increasing it by $1,000.
What is she asking for?
There would have to be a budget transfer.
She's asking for $1,000.
Just 1,000?
Really, at the end of the day.
I'll
just
make a
1,000.
motion to accept the
Second.
$1,000, and then we can worry about the salary ordinance later.
Motion
when
and a
she can pay
second
it,
to
right?
approve this $1,000 increase for
So we
level
just get it
3.
off the books, and if,
All right,
but it's not
Further-
approved yet until it's in the salary ordinance.
further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
All right, can we get a roll call, Madam Auditor?
Councilmember Rivas,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Councilmember Bozick,
Aye.
okay, Councilmember Brickner,
No.
Councilmember Graham,
Aye, yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
No.
Councilmember Paparad, Councilmember Sims.
No.
Four yeas and 3 nays.
All right. I like close votes. All right, IT. IT again has been presented a couple times to you all. We're getting somewhere.
I just don't, it's our people, and our people.
IT budget, IT. There's a lot of restructuring. I don't believe we acted on any of it. It's been presented twice.
Is that what we're voting on, the restructuring?
IT,
of
I
it?
think we did combine, but I don't think we did the restructuring, right? We voted to move the print shop in, I think.
And there was no cost to the bottom line,
increase.
to the general line.
Right. I don't see him here. Is he here? No?
I would make a motion to
I
accept.
second that,
Motion to accept all of his changes that he's presented.
yes.
Motion and a second. Are you guys,
You know what he.
That I understand, yep.
It took a while, though. It took me a while. Not you, Mike, it was me, I'm sorry.
are we good down there? Nope, okay.
Yeah, so for the IT, these are special raises that you're approving, not the restructuring that's on tomorrow's agenda.
Oh, I thought I just voted on restructuring.
All right, so I guess we're gonna have to dig in. Without the director.
Yeah, I was making a motion on the restructuring. Guess I'd have to change my motion.
Change your motion, amend it, do,
These still were not hitting the general fund, correct?
no,
They are hitting the general fund?
all right.
I withdraw my motion. Is that here to explain?
I'll withdraw my second till I get more understanding.
All right. So, what happened to his restructuring where there wasn't, when he came in front of us?
That I was in favor of.
That's coming in front of you tomorrow. With the same request that he had, what he said.
Correct, but he doesn't,
That would be to, well, he's moving people.
Right.
He's reducing positions
Mhm.
because he wanted to hire that one position at the lower pay. But then in addition to that restructuring, he wanted
Here,
these in
tomorrow's agenda.
for next year's budget.
IT.
So look at what
Right
he's
there.
asking here, and I don't mean to put words in his mouth.
That's what they want to do.
Look at this request here separately from what you're looking at tomorrow night.
But is there gonna be a difference in what he's asking from the general fund?
Yes. Is that correct?
Different from tomorrow night.
yeah. What's that?
He should be here.
No, yeah, but,
Okay, so wait, hold on, maybe I misspoke.
Okay.
There's a decrease in the general fund tomorrow if he gets what he wants, but then there'll be an increase to the general fund with this request.
But overall, is it gonna be even from what is,
Yeah, is it a wash?
I don't know, I don't have the agenda for tomorrow night, I
We
have
have
it
to-
in the.
Oh, here.
so,
Sylvia has it.
Yes.
his original request in front of us last month was take out the special raises, because if he comes in front of us and wants to do the adjustment, and then we don't do it for next year's budget, what, I mean, then he'll just be back in front of us in February.
It'll be, in January, he'll come back saying,
Yeah, it would
Well, I
be,
guess we
it
could
would
amend.
still be an overall,
It's an amendment.
Substantial decrease to the.
it's a decrease overall in the salaries, but at this point, you would be increasing for budget purposes for the general fund, and I know I just confused everybody.
increase how much?
sorry.
So it's going up today, down tomorrow?
Yeah.
Actually, I disagree, because some of these positions here are at this rate in 2022.
Glad I don't have that job. I couldn't do that.
These rates are already part of, do you have salary range?
You're right, this request doesn't.
You what? Decreasing it quite a bit?
No, these drop, but these increase.
Right, but the difference on this is
So if we
$6,400.
don't do anything
Here is
today,
about $40,000.
we don't do anything today, a break.
Right.
So, Jeremy,
That's right, I'm looking at this, you're looking at this one.
The
Candy
difference here is that he's asking for a decrease of some positions and increase of other positions. Plus, he's asking for hourly and data processing equipment. That altogether is a wash.
Okay, let me get some let's take a 5-minute break. We can take a 5-minute break real fast. We'll come back. I'm gonna try to get a little clarification on this.
I'm gonna order pizza.
Yeah, just a 5-minute break, yeah. Not a long break. We'll have to take a long break in a little while, but just a 5-minute break.
Okay, so let's say he gets what he wants tomorrow.
No, good call.
See, we're approving next
Stretch
year's
my
budget,
legs.
and we would have to grow the budget.
Walter's not here to yell at me.
No, because right now with Ruth, it's the same salary based on last year. So the same salary based on last year, he's actually lowering it from the
Right, right. He's lowering tomorrow.
And then he's asking for a $7,000 increase in other salaries, but the net of the salary changes alone.
And that's what these,
That would add up in order to make it a wash to where we are right now.
okay, that makes sense. So would the salary line, no, the salary line item does not change the same, that's not the same. Reducing the salary line item, but increasing the other, but,
You know what, I think I brought it. Why is it?
go get that?
No, what?
I have it already on the packet.
Oh, his proposal?
but he would be increasing.
You guys know those are on. That's all. This is what he presented last time.
Exactly.
So, well, that's the salary ordinance. You have those documents.
The salary ordinance could be,
All part of the budget
we
process.
could just leave it as it is.
Central Maine does not plan on going.
His appropriation would be too big. No, those decreases affect this year's budget. We're looking at next year's budget.
Yeah, so right now, the budget we're right now is based on what salary.
Gave it to everybody.
Although I don't know what,
Well, this one, I got, Chuck gave me the sign. And so I got the one that, yeah, I got the one with the red gold, and I
I'd like to get the
has it in
correct
front of him, the
appropriation.
ordinance. Thank you, Joy.
See, I thought it was an increase to the general fund, even with this increase.
Lowering that one. Lowering that one.
And then he's increasing these. And then, in another part of his request, he's asking for, this is where I can find it. An increase in hourly and an increase in data processing. So wait, let me just take.
He's asking for a decrease of $43,550.
He's asking to do this, right? So he's asking
So I'm showing an overall decrease of $1,118.
Yeah, that'd be great, Joy.
Would you rather have a Coke or a?
Oh, that's perfect.
So he's decreasing, so it's the 34.75, whatever. Well, no, and I've got. Okay. What was the decrease?
42,552.
Yeah, good, yeah, I'm with you. What he's asking for?
So the savings is 42,552. So that's what about, so then there's no way to do this plus 18,000 hourly, plus 16,750 which comes up to a net change of negative 1,118.
That's exactly what I got.
But and then if we say hadn't got into the one-year program, need
So let's pretend, we don't really even care what you do tomorrow, because we're working on next year's budget, so. So,
And then lastly, the equipment and the hourly he wants, and then lastly.
So assuming you're gonna approve it, then you've got 43,552 to play.
And then look at his increase in his line items, the additional 7, do we wanna do that? And then do we wanna look at special raises?
and then, at the last meeting, did we do anything with IT? Were there any changes? I can't recall. It was kind of confusing.
I don't think anything was done.
Whereas health department had something done, that's where I'm confused. But not the rest of their increase, but they just approved the rest of the increase.
I think we got.
We got it.
Yeah, I think so.
But we're assuming you're going to approve tomorrow's changes. We're changing the salary ordinance, but we're not. Right? We're going to reduce those positions. What I'm trying to do is to get the correct salaries appropriation. What this does is it gives these raises here, but it's assuming that those other positions are going to be reduced. This doesn't give us the raises. Oh, okay, this just is. And if there are the special raises, it would be the 7,684. And Tiffany, you're doing a great job, yes.
Just don't make a mistake.
Now we'd have to get this clarified. I do not believe that, I believe they want the stipends coming out of foundation. We didn't address that either. Yeah, that would be. The appropriation we came up with is assuming that you're going to, approve the reductions to the, even though it's a different budget, we're changing the salaries.
It should flow, whatever.
I made it this far.
You mentioned premium pay, no, I'm assuming people. But that's really up to the commission. Where's that plan?
Yes.
All of these budgets.
I told her.
Before we adopt those budgets, if the salaries are.
And it's been a department where they've never really asked for anything.
But I mean, if we were to put the stipends in these budgets, we would have to put them.
Well, when you have to non, they're gonna start paying their.
We're almost there. Almost there.
It's hit me.
We did ITS, so stormwater, soil and water, recycling waste. And then I'd like to.
No. Well, I can.
Greg, how are you? Sweetest has got the longest 5 minutes I've ever seen.
He needs a new Rolex.
He's a union guy, you're right.
Oh. We said he can be here in 10 minutes, but I think we.
No, don't. You can tackle that. Or we can just both put the line. So hit the bottom line.
That's the whole thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing. All right.
Here we go. Everybody here? 5 minutes is up. We got back in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. You guys ready? Everybody gone? We done? All right.
His was that. I was saying, he's doing what he asked for.
All right, you guys ready? So,
Well, why did she, thank you.
maybe not. Maybe we weren't ready, Harold. We're just gonna wait.
We're ready.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the ITS.
Well, hold on, just clarification, so everybody is on the same page. So what he's proposing tomorrow is the same thing he's proposed in the past, that I think there's a change in the salary from senior systems administrator from $71,717 down to $58,000. And the change name of position, level 2 technician. Then there's the IT network manager, change in salary from $71,717 down to $41,882, and the title change position to level 1 technician, right? So those are decreases in those two, which will be in front of us tomorrow to decrease those two. So then that total, what does that save in the general fund?
That brings it to $721,251.
Which is a decrease of like 43,000?
Yeah, 43,552.
Okay, so let's, step by step. The first one is the decrease in him adjusting those two positions down 43,000. So the next component of that is, he is asking for, is it up on there? There's some increases he was asking for.
Yeah, I made the motion on it.
If you want to do it one by one, you want to make a motion on those two? Have at it.
Well, you're explaining, keep going.
Okay, so he's asking for some increases in $18,000 in hourly, and then there was another $16,000 in data processing equipment. So that looks like $34,750. So his reduction is 42, now he's asking for some line item increases of, a 34. Then the last component, he was asking for some special raises, and that's,
Still within his budget.
you go to IT, so then he's asking for some special raises of, looks like level 2 technician, two of them, $3,283 each, and a level 1 technician, $1,118. Let's just say altogether, just for the sake of discussion, altogether, what would that do if we granted the decreases, we granted the two line item requests, and the raises? What would that do?
Between the two budgets from one year to the next, it's a decrease of $1,108, $1,118.
So,
Now, it may not look like that, but remember, we moved the print shop into this.
so we can do it request by request, the reductions, then we can move to his line item increases, and then we can move to his special raises. It's up to you guys.
As long as we understand that it's basically going to be almost a wash from what the auditor is saying. I would hope we could do it all in one motion.
Okay, there's just some special raises in there too, so,
Oh, are we going to include those?
well, that's up to you.
You already have a motion on the table?
What was the motion? I
To
apologize.
accept the ITS increases, the 71,717 to 75, and the 41,882 to 43.
The two reductions in the line item increases altogether. The motion, was there a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on. Moving on up. Guys are all over the place. Find my homework. I messed it up. Where are we at, Mike? Here it is, sorry. Development of stormwater, development, see, Department of Development and Stormwater. All right. We're getting down to it.
That's what threw me off.
I know, yeah. I'm not, all right. Threw myself off. All right, you guys, there's some, requests in here, I believe, some special requests and dedications. Where are they at? Let's find them. So it looks like there's GIS coordinator, $8,400, staff engineer, $3,415, executive assistant, $1,970, and administrative assistant, $5,450. I think that's what's coming out of the Department of Development and Stormwater. A few special requests. So I think you guys, into some discussions, that there appears to be one glaring one from an employee that's been here for a little while, and that's the GIS coordinator, or whatever the title is, I apologize. Yeah, GIS coordinator, $56,800. My guess in my conversations with people close to that and what that person does, that's woefully underpaid. This may be one that we can't wait I mean, we could, but we potentially would then have to advertise for it and hire somebody new. So, I mean, just some discussions, so,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to increase the GIS coordinator, as requested, the 8,400 to 65,200, as well as the staff engineer position, an increase of 3,415 to a total of $78,000.
and that staff engineer, I believe, just was certified as a public engineer, is that correct? So,
Now, is that gonna include the stipends as well, or are you taking those out like we did before?
No, they'd receive the stipends as well.
I'll second that motion.
motion is second on the floor for two, the GIS coordinator, staff, and engineer. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, there's a couple other requests out there from development, stormwater. Couple other requests. I'll take the silence as to move on. Soil and water.
What did I ask?
Soil and water is asking for, let's dig in, we're getting there.
Performances and employees on the top.
Need health and orange?
Uh-oh. Mine's on the other side.
I got recycling.
Soil and,
Recycling.
soil and water, where's soil and water?
Oh, I printed it
What do we
myself.
leave?
You what?
Where's it at?
She said, why isn't yours colored? I said, I printed it myself. But I don't know why mine's not the same. Mine says soil and water appropriation 1950, rate up to $35 a meeting.
Soil and water, okay, yep, I'm
Is
here.
that what the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So it looks like an increase in appropriation, I'm guessing. The rate, okay, so here's, they're asking the rate to go up to $35 a meeting, but they're also asking for the appropriation to match. So, and then move salaries from non-general fund to general fund. So I'm guessing there's a couple things going on here. Is there any
Michelle,
questions?
you want to come up for us, if you would, please?
Okay, well, for the first time ever, we're going to be paying a meeting stipend of $35 per meeting out of our local fund 4931. Those are monies that we've raised ourselves through tree sales, also through agreements, extra work that the staff takes on from the federal government. We'd like to move that amount to the general fund starting next year in case our agreement funds dry up. This allows that the supervisors would continue to receive that $35 per meeting stipend. So $35 per meeting times 12 meetings times 5 supervisors.
And so the additional appropriation for the general fund would be a total of $1,950.
And there's $150 for FICA, so $2,100.
$2,100. Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second on the floor to increase the appropriation. Further discussion? What's that, Joy? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
Thank you.
If we have to lay people off.
Thank you for that
Oh,
stipend.
because of that.
That's the most I've ever had as an increase in all the years I've been employed here. So I appreciate it.
Progress.
Well, now you have to wait till the end of the meeting.
Recycling and waste reduction.
You know, if that's what it takes, I'll sit there.
I'm out.
Right to an auction or a garage sale, you get the good stuff at the end.
Time out.
Some time here because stormwater is more complicated and we can't get to the
Okay,
general fund yet.
perfect.
Slow down.
All right. Yes, because I think those are
If
big.
we go to the general
Yeah.
fund and increase it by another almost $2,000, we're gonna wait, let's wait.
Okay, while we're waiting,
Done that.
let's bring Director Stua up to talk about the, that one position for the 10,000, the assistant. 'Cause there's some more information that we hadn't had earlier that could be helpful in making a decision, or maybe changing the decision.
All right, so while Vicky's and her staff are working,
All right.
how are you?
Hello there.
So,
All night.
We're all right. It's only
Okay.
7:46. What's,
All right, let me see if I'm wrong here. Okay, the increase in pay for your assistant director, right now, the position currently makes the same as your training coordinator, correct?
It's actually less than the current training coordinator because they also work as our IDEX coordinator, and they get a $40 stipend per week, and they're also allowed to work overtime and dispatch, which the director and deputy director are not able to pick up any overtime comp time. It's salary. If we work over, it's for the county, and it's the benefit. We understand that position, and they make less than several of the supervisors, several of the dispatchers right now because they're able to work overtime. We are understaffed, and if that was all taken care of, we were fully staffed, at that point in time, it would still be the training coordinator makes more than the deputy director.
Okay. And none of this money comes out of general fund at all?
None of it comes from the general fund. Also, we reduced our overall budget for the 12-22 for salaries by $310,000 to go forward for next year. One of those positions was one of our 2 executive assistants. We realized with the deputy director and the executive assistant, those duties could be either split up. We actually had to put more of those duties on the deputy director that came in to where we could reduce that by $45,000 as well. We're only asking to put, I'm actually asking to put 10,000 of that onto the deputy director because of all the additional duties that are being taken on by whoever is in that role. So they're gonna take over all of our Facebook posts, a lot of the communications with different fire departments, and they pretty much run the entire operations while I try to cover things for the county, as well as the center, the move, our CAD conversion, and we have several other projects going forward. We need to make sure we have the right person for that.
And you feel that this increase will have more people applying?
I think this will entice the right candidates, even if one of the ones that have applied right now, if they're the right candidate, but when we come to them with the pay rate, they say, well, I'd like to have more than that. I believe my skills and what I'm going to have to do and be available 24 hours a day, no matter what's going on, that they might want more. We could lose the right applicant if that is what's in the current pool.
Well, Councilman Sims, I'd be interested in relooking at it.
Okay.
possibly.
well, let's wait, I mean, before we throw another motion on the floor or anything. I mean, we're still dealing with
This is gonna.
stormwater development. Are you guys are all good over there?
We're good, we're good.
Okay,
We're
perfect.
caught up to the general fund edition.
Okay,
All right.
all right. Well, okay, yeah. You wanna,
Can I make a motion to,
floor's open.
I mean, we had, what, 10,000 earlier, but 5,000, an increase in salary? So it's half of what was originally proposed? And again, no money coming out of the general fund, but,
And as the lead prosecutor had mentioned earlier, that Lake County comparison, we have 1 deputy versus their 2, and both of their deputies each make $30,000 more than our current deputy. We are woefully underpaid for the deputy director's position, but we understood with budget, and the commissioners and I discussed this, only asking for 10,000 right now, understanding that with the wage scale that's gonna be coming out, the wage report and how everything is viewed, I believe that's gonna go up. But again, we understand it's a hard decision right now.
You said your motion was for 5,000?
5,000.
I'll second that motion.
It's a motion, a second on the floor. I mean, we'll definitely, see what the wage study says.
If it's not hitting bottom line, are we interested in doing the 10,000 and just moving on?
There's a motion, a second. Well, motion, a second on the floor. There's discussion. I mean, I think it was,
Open minds now.
it already died,
Well,
but
that's what the motion was.
let me,
well, I'll amend the emotion. I mean, I can,
I withdraw my second and just wait here and see what goes on.
well, then I would go with my original 10,000.
I'll second your motion.
all right. So,
Again, Did you withdraw your original? I withdraw the 5 and then I redid the 10. And again, it doesn't come out of general fund at all?
Well, that's not
yeah,
entirely accurate.
well, hold on. So, motion and a second for the 5,000 has been withdrawn. There's
Yeah.
another motion and a second on the floor for the 10,000.
You made the
Well,
second.
I did.
we can get to discussion here, and I want to maybe follow the path of maybe where the auditor's going, but I think we have to remember too that 911's, that's not their only budget that they have. That's one budget that has, salaries, hourly, overtime, right? Is that what we're looking at?
Correct.
That's got the $2,236,000. They also spend $885,000 out of the foundation budget. And, there's a lot of line items in the foundation budget for E911. Now, don't take me wrong here. It's obviously a vital role in public safety. But one step further, though, where do they pay all their employees' health care out of? Do they, if they can't afford that, they don't pay it out of the 911 surcharge, they don't pay it out of the E911 budget, so,
FICA and PERF comes out of the general fund, and then the health insurance comes out of
What?
the commissioners' budgets, regardless of whether it's general fund or lit or foundation budget fund. It's from the big pot of money.
so to say that's not hitting the general fund in any,
But definitely FICA and PERF it will
Right.
affect. And we have to keep track of all your special raises, as it affects the general fund. So that's why we have to say that.
mm-hmm.
With respect to health insurance, it comes out of the big community pot of health insurance.
So how close are we to, what we were supposed to be spending tonight? What have we spent so far? You told us in the beginning, we could do it 508,000.
Well, I think she said at the beginning we had started, I don't know. I don't know if they have that number now.
So the salaries come out of the 1222, and unfortunately, the 1222 is a surcharge regulated by the state, and certain things cannot be paid. Like, one thing was furniture for within that floor. None of that money can be spent for certain items such as that. It has to be for 911 operations directly.
And that comes all out of the foundation budget.
Correct.
So we started the night off hitting the general fund at 435,716.
But I'm not asking for that much.
Nobody is.
You know what, I'm just gonna say, again, this is admirable. I mean, you're coming up here fighting for your people, rightfully so. And, you know, there's no, I'm not saying that anybody that hasn't come up here doesn't deserve, you know, what the department heads are pushing for. I mean, we can start calling other people back up.
That's right.
Doing the same thing.
That's
You know,
exactly right.
have EMA come back and, I mean, it's just trying to stay consistent. I mean, again, this is a work in progress and we're gonna be getting there. You know, I'm still gonna just say to, you know, a situation like this, I mean, this is a substantial increase and, not to say, you know, I don't know where that dollar amount came from. I'm sure you did some research and are comparing, but, you know, I think that we're gonna, you know, again, with the wage study, is gonna help this council just make a wise decision on how we spend our taxpayer money when it comes to compensating our people. Again, we want our people compensated the high end of the market. That's the goal. I'm just gonna reiterate that, you know, we have been pretty much consistent tonight, and we've made a few adjustments here and there, and that's fine. We have to look at each situation a little bit, you know, with some uniqueness, but I'm still going to say that, you know, again, we can start recalling some other department heads too. They make a great argument as well. They've all done a great job, and you're doing what you should be doing.
I guess my only concern would be if we're giving up a position that was making $45,000 a year, and we're trying to use less than a quarter of that and put the duties solely on the deputy director, I think it's actually saving the county money as opposed to continue to have two different bodies doing the work. I think it's better than saying, let's keep the second assistant another $46,000 and then remain with the $52,000 for the deputy director. We're trying to consolidate two positions and still save over $30,000 of what we're having in the 1222 budget.
You know, and I understand that it's still paying you know, what does the position pay? Not what does the position pay? What is that job description? And I think that's what this wage study is going to reveal to us, is what should that person in that position, that job, pay? And yet, you know, you're moving money around, you're being creative. I think that's great when it comes to compensating people. You know, we're not gonna be taking money away from anybody even after the wage study's done.
Understood.
So just to try again to hopefully have some patience. It's, you know, it's a big investment for us, and I mean, that's just my Yeah, because we've had other department heads coming up here making very good arguments as well. And this is the challenging part, is to just try and say, just try and hold off for a while.
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, but again, it's not a hit to the, what's the hit to the general fund with the?
It's not the same.
Or the perf?
Oh.
1,800 wait. Oh, that was total?
1,885.
Okay, so 1,800.
But it's also the reduction of that position, no longer paying per for the 45,000 for the previous executive assistant, correct?
Was that, I'm sorry?
So the executive assistant we're reducing, does that negate the two differences in perf?
Is that a vacancy?
It was a vacancy as of April when we decided not to fill the spot, so that when we came to budget time, we could remove that.
We haven't been paying perf if it's a vacancy, so.
Right, so it's a walk, I mean, we're saving.
Correct.
So we're adding a position, hopefully getting someone more qualified, or good qualified candidates. They have an increase in responsibilities, and they're still paid a heck of a lot less than the ones in Lake County, so.
Correct.
Have you had conversations with the commissioners? What were their thoughts? Were they suggesting we do this increase? What was?
They were supportive with the increase. I originally was trying for more, and we discussed, and 10,000 seemed to be the reasonable number to request from the commissioner, from the council. That this would be a reasonable rate to have the increase at, and not to try for anything else right now.
All right, Madam Auditor, can we get a roll call?
And this is for the 10,000.
To approve the $10,000.
10,000.
Okay. Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner.
No.
Councilmember Graham.
No.
Councilmember Jessen.
No.
Councilmember Paparad. Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
And Councilmember Rivas.
No, doesn't matter.
So we have 2 yeas and 4 nays.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming back.
Recycling and waste reduction. What was that?
Oh, I don't see it.
All right. Looks like
There it is.
there's some special requests. Assistant Director up $7,740, Education Outreach up $5,367. It looks like it's coupled with some decreases. Public Ed Outreach Coordinator down $3,604, Assistant Director down $7,000. Look at the summary, so, recycling and waste reduction.
Oh, okay.
I assume the decreases are positions that are not filled currently, right? Oh, they are?
Assistant to the director was a retiree of 20 years, so any position coming in just started at a lower rate. And then the lower rate was on a new staff starting as well, so.
You want to bring her up?
If you want, would you like to come up? So there's a couple of reductions, and you're saying these are positions that are being filled by new
Correct, they are currently
employees, so you're
filled.
lowering it as entry level?
Yes.
And then you've got a couple requests for,
Yep, our assistant director has been with the district 20 years, and her only raise has been consistent with what the county awards at the annual budget time. She actually is the assistant director controller, does all the budgeting, payroll for our department. So we're just trying to bring her up to speed. We've assessed her across other solid waste management districts and just the comparable to county positions from in the auditor's office to bookkeeping through Lake County and LaPorte County as well. And then for education outreach, that's our licensed teacher who has made a significant impact on our Porter County. We're actually very blessed to have an Indiana licensed teacher who's teaching environmental. So I was here in 2019 trying to get her above the 40,000. We just made her above the 40,000, and we're just trying to get her back up to a little bit more comparable.
My understanding that the recycling board has approved these increases?
Absolutely.
Or
Yep.
changes, I should say?
Sure, our, this entire budget, including the hourly, we also had an hourly increase because of our sites. It was presented at our August 3rd board meeting, and the board approved it in full support.
In that spirit, I'd like to make the motion for the changes.
I'll
For the $7,000 raise, the $5,000 raise,
As well as the decreases that were noted.
decreases. Motion and second on the floor for discussion. See no discussion, we get a roll call.
Councilmember Brickner,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Councilmember Sims,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas,
No.
and Councilmember Bozak.
Yes.
So, yes, 5 yeas and 1 nay.
Right, Indiana Dunes Tourism.
Oops, can I ask one quick question? Does that, I also had requested an increase in hourly. Does that go with it?
Okay.
For our compost sites, because we did bring our part-time pay up. Sadly, our part-time pay was $10, so we did bring it up, and we brought it up this year. But in order to maintain that for 2022, I just need to make sure that.
Well, that's okay, did we,
What do they get paid now? What did you increase it to?
We just increased our starting pay to $12. Our current staff is up to $13.
Still get a better.
so what do you want to increase it to? Your part-time hourly, is that what you're asking?
Yes, on the LAO system, I had an increase of, and we also increased the hours. When we originally did this in 2020, our hours were significantly reduced. This is the same number, so we've been bringing it forward. So our request of hourly was $45,830. We should also say we do have separate funds, and we are not part of the general fund at all.
So what's the increased amount you're asking for? 45, okay, I see it now. $45,830, and that's because you're increasing your hourly line item to what? I mean, you're up to your hourly pay?
And that was in the, for all of across the positions up to $19, so we made that notation in our 144 too for the salary ordinance. Right now, we have a whole bunch of different breakdowns, so we just cleaned it up.
All right,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
motion and second on the floor to improve the increase in the hourly, $45,830, and their hourly up to $19 an hour. Motion and second, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All the same sign. Anything else?
I think if that includes perf and FICA, that, everything goes with that, correct?
Hold on.
We're adding it right
Okay.
now. You pay that, right?
We pay all of it, but I just need to make sure we get the numbers correct, so I don't come back to you in February saying, oh, no. Thank you guys for everything you do. We appreciate you. Yeah. Come visit our sites. Oh, I should extend, that we would love to welcome the whole council. If you guys would like one day to take a tour of our site, we'd be happy to share all of the things that we do at our Valparaiso site. It's a great model for, we actually have different communities that come and explore it, so we'd be happy to share it with you. So,
Thank you.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, Indiana Dunes Tourism, I think we need to revisit that budget. Or we don't, I think we moved it, right? I put it on there just to make certain that, what's up?
I asked Chuck why he was here, he just told me.
Why is he here?
What did you say?
I thought we forgot Chuck Harris on our list.
So Indiana, can we pull up tourism? I believe I just want to look at the venue line item, so it's right.
That's what I'm gonna
About a visit, I
do
thought.
that in the,
So there was some requests, did we,
we're gonna give them
okay, so the 150 is in there right now, all right. Did we approve the other requests that they wanted? No? So can we pull that up? There was,
Okay, so it's in hourly, they're requesting 5,000, and what, longevity, 400.
there, you have tourism in front of you. They're asking for some other.
Is that for an hourly increase or hourly rate increase, or do we have any idea?
We think it's just the appropriation increase. That's what we have.
We're
they have to have, more people because of more people coming?
I don't know if there was a. Yeah. I don't know, I mean, at least make a motion on this, because we, one way or another, make certain that the 150,000 is in there for the venues, that we change that
Make a motion to accept it as presented right here.
with the $5,000 increase, the $400 increase, and the
I don't see that on this, no. No, without that, just as presented, right? There's no $5,000 in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
But they are warning.
I can't hear you.
I think you probably need to consider the longevity.
Yeah, because as they move up, you know.
All right, then I would amend my motion to accept it the way it is, plus the $400 increase. For
So
longevity.
not the 5,000 hourly.
No, I don't know if that's what. November.
There's a motion for the $400 increase in longevity, plus the 150,000 for venues.
So is there? Okay, so longevity is,
Not paid by the commission.
No, this all comes out of the innkeeper's tax. This is, nothing is general fund here, this is innkeeper's tax.
You're looking for a second? I'll make a second.
On the $400 increase plus 150 for venues, but you don't want to include the 5,000 that was requested for hourly. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh. No, I withdraw mine. I'd like to do it all.
All right, I withdraw mine. Or I amend mine, just do it all.
So motion is second to approve everything that's requested, the 5,000, the 400 plus 150 for venues.
So keep the 150, yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
We have to change FICA and PERF now. Hold on.
2.5 hours isn't bad. We get 3 hours in, that's not bad.
Okay, we got it. 2,080,623.
All right. So we're gonna, does anybody have anything on budget-wise that's left? We're gonna take a break. Yeah,
Wait,
we'll hit the affidavit, yeah. We'll, unless you wanna do it
why
right.
don't we do that?
Do that while
Okay.
they're figuring.
All right, there's just, you guys, the affidavit that by statute, this is for the recorder, because he increased the appropriation. So,
That's so long.
Harold, this is an ordinance, so this has to be voted on twice, passed twice right now, so you wanna,
Summarize it real quick.
yeah, if you guys, yeah, if you want.
It's just the same ordinance that we've done in past years, whereby the auditor, or the recorder rather, requests of the council to use perpetuation fund monies to pay the general expenses of the auditor's office. And the ordinance just simply, in conjunction with the affidavit that the auditor or the recorder filed, approves the budgeted amount at the second reading for the recorder's office out of the perpetuation fund. So, we can have 2 readings, we can present it tonight and then vote on it tomorrow, but to save some time, we can do it tonight, provided it's a unanimous consent. We don't have to have a second reading, provided there's a unanimous consent tonight, if that makes sense. So my point is Indiana Code 36-2-4-7 states explicitly that unanimous consent of the members present is required to pass an ordinance on the same day or at the same meeting at which it is introduced.
Suspending the rules.
It's essential.
So I think we need a couple, 3 motions probably. If
Well,
a motion to pass this ordinance, an ordinance adopting the request to pay. Then if it passes and everybody wants to hit it again, an ordinance to suspend the rules, and that,
A motion to suspend the rules so that we don't have to have a second reading on the ordinance.
and then we'll take a third vote to pass it on second reading.
That's correct.
So,
Well, I'll make the motion to accept it.
there's a motion on the floor to pass, an ordinance adopting request pay an identifiable portion of Recorder's 2021 expenses for perpetuation fund. By title. There's a motion.
I wanted to ask.
A second.
Second, I would like to ask.
Discussion.
Yes, my question is, number 3 on this.
On the affidavit or the ordinance?
The affidavit. It says, that the current revenue, of the Porter County Recorder Perpetuation Fund is sufficient to fulfill the statutory purpose of the, fund. Now, does that in any way locking us in with what the fund is today, like 3 years, 4 years down the road? Are we not able to?
This is a per year request. And all that is the statute requires that the recorder affirm by way of an affidavit that for the next budget year, the fund, the perpetuation fund has those reserves. So this long answer to a short question is,
We're
it's
good.
for this coming year, this coming year.
Okay, because number 5
think so.
also had my concern, the same thing. Has sufficient reserve with the recorder's plan to capitalize the next technical.
Well, and what I would say is presumably that the monies are there or the recorder feels that the monies are sufficient to sustain that fund, or he wouldn't have made that request.
Right, yep. It's just saying that they have sufficient funds to do their statutory obligation along with, doing what they're doing with us, so. I think it's fair. All right, any further discussion? Can we get a roll call, Madam Auditor, on this ordinance? I know, I apologize.
Okay. Councilmember Graham.
Yes,
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
Yes.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
And Councilmember Brickner.
Yes.
I just didn't like it.
If you would have voted no by accident, you would have.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading
Second.
tonight.
Motion and second to suspend the rules, allowing for a second reading and adoption tonight. Any roll call for that? Or can we get a roll call on the motion to suspend the rules for second adoption tonight, second reading?
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
Yes.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner.
Yes.
And Councilmember Graham.
Yes,
One more.
6-0.
Make a motion to accept it.
To adopt.
Second reading tonight, now that we suspended motion, or rules.
There's a motion to adopt an ordinance adopting a request to pay as and identify a portion of the Recorder's 2022 expenses from perpetuation fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second, discussion, roll call,
Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
yes.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
yes.
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
And that's 6-0.
Thank you. I think, Commissioner Blaney, you want to come on up, Commissioner Blaney? Come on, we haven't had a commissioner in front of us all night. Come on down.
What fun.
You guys should have a corrected 144, it's a little different, and, doesn't change the money, but, explain.
I'm not certain, did
What
we?
did you say?
I know Scott
That's it.
talked to you guys about, he said he got the 144 to you.
I was told he handed it to you, and then I asked Joy if it was, and she said no, so then I resent it, asking you guys to put me on there. But my number 2, my engineer quit, just like the day before you guys had a budget hearing last month. So it changes the way I'm gonna hire that person. I would like to lower that salary to match my number 3 engineer, which is 61,000, gives me 4,000 extra and some change, and I'd like to put that on my engineer number 4 to try to balance it out. My engineers, to try to make them as equal as possible. Because I got number Number 1 makes 70, number 2 makes 65, number 3 makes 61, and then my number 4 makes 48,000, and they're all engineers.
Do you have that paperwork, Jeremy?
I do not. Can you pull that, is there a way you can pull that up, that one? No? Do you have,
I have it on my laptop, but I do not have capabilities.
is it,
to do that.
is it an email, Joy?
I can go get it. Actually, I'd be willing to make the motion.
So we can see what we're talking about, right?
Hold on. So, was that a motion?
Yes. I'd
There's a
be-
motion
To approve his.
to approve those changes? Go get it anyways. Vicky's gonna need it.
Right, we'll definitely need it.
Yeah.
However, I think that we received it right before we left for conference, and there just wasn't time.
It's not gonna change the
It doesn't change the money.
Right,
But
but
bottom line.
it will affect the salary payments that.
Right.
So Ray, can you kind of explain that? So you said your current guys are 70, 65, 61, 48?
Yes, sir.
And the future
And some
ones will
change, you know,
be,
huh?
what will the future,
70, 61, 61, and 52, or 53 when you move the 4,000 and plus some change.
and that's the only thing you're talking about?
I would like to have a special raise for my coordinator. I've asked, ever since I've been here, she was a part-time salary. You guys raised it to a full-time, but my predecessor didn't raise no money. So the first time I asked you guys for 10,000, you guys only allotted 5. I feel like that position's still at a part-time salary at 39,000. So I would ask for another 5. That's what I would like to ask.
I'm withdrawing my, anything that I said. I want to see the paperwork.
Good to see the paper.
All right. We'll wait. There's,
But the engineers make a decision, because I've been doing interviews, and this affects who I hire at what rate, so. And we need that engineer like yesterday.
What's an engineer do for you?
They're maintenance techs, they're plumber, HVAC, and electrician.
I just figured I'd ask why we're sitting here.
And they're union guys.
They're union? No, we don't have union employees here. They're government employees.
I thought you did to start. Interesting.
Thank you.
hopefully that's not recording all my shits I've been saying.
What results again, do you have a electrician?
Electrician, a plumber, HVAC, and a general maintenance.
Which engineer are you hiring for now?
Well, number 2 quit, which is 65.
Okay.
So I would like to move number 4 to number 2 spot, and then hire for the number 4.
At that bit higher rate.
At 52.
At 50, 52 and some change, or whatever is left over from the number 2 spot.
So, yeah, so you just want to really, you're lowering 1 and then increasing the 4?
Yeah, to make
You're
it,
lowering the 2.
I'm trying to get the text to be the same over quite a few years. I feel like the number 1 text.
Is that all equal amounts then? It's the same?
Exactly equal.
Number 2 and number 3 are.
Bottom line's the same.
Is there a motion?
But they-
She withdrew
they
it.
did all
withdrew it.
of
We need a new one.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second on the floor to make these changes to the 144
Can I
Commissioner
ask-
lit projects. Discussion?
Yeah, I just one question. Which person is that one that you said was making too little that you wanted 5,000? We're not voting on the 5,000.
No.
You're not
Nope.
voting that, but that's
This
my
is just in
facilities
here.
coordinator.
This is just lowering 1 for a new hiree and increasing 1 that he's kind of bumping
That's all
up.
I
So
had.
it's just, yeah.
And what, was that submitted in this year's
I did it,
request, or-
I did the day after you guys had the meeting.
It
or-
came a little late because the guy resigned right after you met, so he
I'm
didn't
talking
know.
about the facilities coordinator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I asked Scott McClure, and McClure told me he gave it to Rivas, so I just.
Oh, we're
Just-
throwing each
I
other
just
on the
kinda-
bus now.
I'm not
Maybe he
trying to
did.
So
throw-
that was
You're
on the
talking about the
coordinator.
140, this one.
This
for,
one.
um,
I'm
This
talking
one,
about
this
the
whole thing.
He's
coordinator.
talking
where
about
you-
the raise
She
you
got
want.
5,000 one time,
See
but.
it.
Oh, that was in
you've been asking-
2020.
Okay, so but you didn't request that.
Last year I did not because you guys asked not to, so I just did what you guys asked. And then this year, I was like, I'm gonna ask.
Fair enough.
Now, your new person will be the, which
Number
one?
4.
So the
Number
engineer
4.
So I'm gonna move who's the number 4 right now, the number 2,
You won't be getting the,
because that person's been here for 12 years. I feel like that person deserves that.
did we say that?
Yeah, and and the goal there is just to get that starting pay to a acceptable level where you'll be able to find an engineer.
A qualified engineer, yes.
All right, further discussion on just this 144? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That was just on this. Changes. So there was another he was asking, but, you're asking for your
Facilities coordinator.
facilities coordinator.
It's the last person on the list here.
The side ask, yeah, for facilities coordinator to go up.
Your speech time.
All right, I think that one's not going anywhere, so, all right,
I appreciate you guys.
yes, what I was saying shit about 5 times in the microphone, and I apologize for somebody that watches this video in 10 years down the road if they recorded it. Because I almost forgot, because they just work and they keep their head down. The auditor's request I put to the back, and to not open it up is wrong, because we pushed her to the back. She did have requests. So, well, she asked, because they were in the middle of it, and I said, we want to push it, and so we pushed it, and then I almost forgot to, I mean.
Good
so-
night, Commissioner.
So the auditor, so Vicky, remind me what we did here, going to your budget.
The proposal would be to take it out of the ineligible homestead fund, and it was prompted largely by a lot of the other special requests that I've seen coming in at budget time, because some of the salaries would definitely get out of whack with respect to some of the people in my office.
Okay, so let's, do we take care of the membership for everybody, right? We added that, the NACO thing. Any line items, I'm thinking your contractual costs, state required
Yes,
report.
did all of
We
that.
did all
Yes.
those. So the only thing we have left with you is you're asking for a couple special requests.
Right,
And your special requests,
right.
so let me go to your worksheets. I mean, it's only right to give due respect to all of them. Due consideration, I should say.
In the spirit of your discussions tonight,
Yes.
some of these questions you denied outright, and some you gave half.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind asking for half, but I also respect your position to waive those salaries. Again, my request was in response to all of these other special requests that were coming in. I felt it was unfair to have people in other offices making more for positions where our office actually does more, maybe more comprehensive.
so you have the budget and finance director, you were asking for $2,717. Payroll director, $4,453, and accounts payable deputy, $2,380. Is that correct? Is that what I'm looking at?
She just withdrew the request, I thought. She withdrew it.
She didn't.
So,
Yes, she did. She just said she
That was
withdrew
most
it.
wishy-washy withdrawal. I do respect what you guys have had to go through.
Did you withdraw it?
no, just, so, I mean, if,
The question, Vicky.
she's being modest, she's just,
She did. She did. You guys not hear what happened? You think she's smiling for no reason? I would let her answer.
so go, okay, so Vicky just,
I would be very appreciative if you could go half, which is what you did with some others.
But
If
not
you
always.
choose not to go that way, there's no hard feelings, I'm not,
so your budget and finance director, Vicky, budget and finance director, wasn't that the one that, okay, so, was this the one we were comparing the clerk to? The clerk, and what did we do to the clerk? Let's just,
Nothing.
no, I believe, didn't we bump up the clerk's budget and finance director, or no, we
Yes, we
didn't?
did.
you gave, I believe it was half of the increase, but no stipend. In this case, the stipend would end up being more, so I wouldn't want that. If you gave half but no stipend, it's better off with the stipend. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you gave half with no stipend.
Accounts payable deputy, payroll director. There's some requests in front of you from the auditor.
I'll make a motion to give her half of what she's requesting for the 3.
There's a motion on the floor to give her half of her request. which would be like 1,000.
Considering the amount of work that these folks do and the amount of time that we spend down there asking questions, and they invite us in to answer.
There's a motion on the floor. And I will second it. I think it's traditionally, yes, I think the chair's never made motions, but the chair has seconded.
Don't you have to pass the gavel to do so?
I don't think so.
I don't
No?
believe so. I think a
You
second
can make
is
a
fine.
motion.
You can't make the motion?
Itself, the original.
Yeah, so I think that's been the practice of this board, so I'll make a second. So just because I want to see you guys vote against the auditor,
Nope.
so.
No speech? Now speech.
I'd rather not vote against 911 and have them not come to my house either.
911's more important to me, it saved my life.
Uh-oh, so, I don't know. So there's a motion on the floor in a second to request the auditor her request that come out of ineligible homestead, half of what she's requested. Discussion?
It's money she's already got. Is
All
that-
in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign.
Aye.
We get a roll call, Madam Auditor? Let's roll call this.
Already got
It's
it.
3-3.
Yeah, I think so. Rivas?
Yes.
Bozak?
No.
Brickner?
No.
Can
Graham?
we open it for more discussion?
No, we're.
Graham?
Yes.
Yes. Jessen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Pepper, and then Sims?
No.
So it's 3-3, which fails.
Can we open it for more discussion?
Yeah, I mean, we're here, we're doing our job. I'm okay.
I truthfully believe that, and we have given another department head, and Vicki has very seldom asked for anything. I should say our auditor, our state auditor, who is one, oh, I'm sorry, our county auditor. But anyway, I would strongly urge us to reconsider what that office does for us in helping us do our job.
I think you missed what she said, and it was that she put these raises and increases on there because of what she saw from other departments. They were gonna get increases, which were gonna throw her people out of whack. She did pretty much say she was withdrawing this request, and
So you're gonna nail her with that.
she doesn't want the raise. I mean, you can watch the tape, it literally says she's withdrawing the request because she respects our decision.
But we denied other departments that weren't even in the general fund, and this one's hitting, this what?
This isn't in the
Right.
general fund.
Well, we denied another one that's not in the general fund.
Oh, we made decisions.
She has her money.
left
This
and
has-
right.
She has her money.
Well, I would say there's not really discussion unless there's a motion on the table, because we already voted it down, right?
Well, I'd say
It's
if,
8:30 at night, I'm gonna go home.
I would say that if the chair recognizes somebody can speak, Andy, so
I can complain.
the chair will do that. You wanna continue,
I would
Sylvia?
like
I'm
to
gonna get going,
entertain
guys.
one more motion.
what's that?
I would like to entertain another motion to pass this. Considering
Well, the
she's,
same motion died, so if there's a different one,
Watch, I can. I know, that's what I'm saying.
so, we got people that wanna take raises for themselves, but they don't wanna do their job. So Sylvia,
thank you. I'll withdraw my motion.
I think Vicki does a great job.
I think
Staff
it's
deserves it.
Very,
I
very
agree
sad.
with Councilperson Graham on all accounts. You know, we came up with the stipend to try and offset some pay increases for this year to get through until we get the wage study done. Tonight, for the most part, again, we kind of there's no debate that her office does outstanding work. But I think, again, Councilman Sims, the other department heads have made very compelling arguments tonight and very admirable. Again, just to try and hold steady on the wage studies. Stipend, I think the stipend is something that we were able to do. It's pretty substantial to some degree. And, keep saying department heads, I mean, I think that the pay increases are coming. I think it's just gonna help, get the wage study done.
So, Madam Auditor, where are you at with compiling everything?
Okay, we
Oh,
feel pretty comfortable.
Do you need 5, 10 minutes?
Yes, do you have those increases?
So how long do you need?
Okay, because we didn't
your time.
have the totals as we were going
Yeah.
through, you wanted to read all of them.
Yeah.
You wanted to read all of them.
No.
So we're going to print that, we're just making the change to FICA and PERF.
Okay.
Did we change PERF?
How long do you need?
We did. Was your increase, just one, 2 seconds, was this about 14,000 increase? Okay, so I think we're good, other than just printing it out, to read the grand totals, right? Okay. How long will it take to print it out? 5 minutes.
Oh, that's
5 minutes, granted.
okay.
Last 5 minutes was half an hour.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes was long.
That's not getting out of effect, the run is covering numbers. Is there, no, I second. Is there a possibility to start with that? Danielle told me it takes like 3 hours for those reports to come. Okay, you'll take care of it?
Yeah, we were all over the board. I mean, we had to make decisions, we made decisions. We prioritized, according to what we thought. Some win, some lose. You know?
I think she's inexperienced. Not enough understanding about stuff.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying. If you were here before that, staff, you know. And if you'll be here after, there's a good chance you'll know what we have. And she's been modest in her requests
Oh,
forever,
never asked.
to a fault almost,
Never asked.
to a fault.
And previous has taken things off
Yeah.
that she's requested.
Tries to lead by example and
Well, that's where,
and to punish her and, sit there and try to call her out.
Because she slipped and said something.
Right. She's being modest and it's just, point that out.
the thing that we talked about more in advance is to talk about how our feeling on if it's not coming out of the general fund. How do we feel about it? Whether,
Maybe it sways one way or another.
but I think that's why sometimes I vacillate.
That's true.
And the reality is, any increase, it all doesn't come out of the general fund, but it all affects.
Right, well, FICA and PERF.
And even though it, doesn't, general fund, it's.
You'll be all right. You won't wither away because the meal's a little late. We don't ever eat till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I miss Jeopardy.
What's that?
Is Jeopardy still on?
I was thinking the music.
Yeah.
Hey, Joy, if you want, we should start Google if you need help. Get stuff back.
Oh, no, I can do that. I got that, so we have this problem.
Yeah, he's done, he's. What's that?
I'm off by a few dollars, and I think it has to deal with, what we did with the clerks.
Get it right.
But. Hold on just 1 second. I'm not adding in FICA and PERF. So when we read the general fund, it's gonna show an increase of 1.269 million. But it really, in that, okay, this is what's weird. Because we didn't account for the sheriff increase in
Oh,
the
the
housing
revenue?
prisoners, we're kind of treating that separately. The actual increase to the general fund is what I just said, that is the actual increase.
What was
But
it?
because we're upping the revenue, what you're looking at is how much did we increase, where we're eating into that 800,000.
Yeah.
And that
So we
number
went over the
is $610,036. So you came in under, but, so.
That's pretty good.
So overall, the general fund will look like it's growing 1.2 million, and you'll say, wait, I thought we were only gonna increase it by 800. But that's because of the federal housing
Yeah.
prison. We were not including that in the revenue.
Those weren't in the first estimate.
Okay,
so.
Whereas
So
all
what
the
is-
other revenue figures, we've included everything in. So if you're looking at excluding the federal housing prisoners, you grew the general fund by 610,000.
610,000.
I may be off a little bit.
Stretch them.
I should have got that right. I'm sorry, I didn't.
With that increase.
I thought we were taking a victory lap then.
I'm gonna take those off.
No, yeah.
Clear the room.
Clear the room. What's that?
I guess I'll turn my phone
Oh,
on.
yeah, no, don't turn them off.
Oh, they're still on?
Yeah, they did.
I thought they go out.
Right.
Yeah, that one's getting younger and younger.
Which time is that?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
She did.
Oh, my God.
I want to turn my phone on. I just want to. That's why I'm hoping we can only pay for it.
All positive, all that.
It is all positive.
Better
I got
last
one
year
more.
going down, right?
Yeah, I got one more. Oh, I know who it was. It's gonna show you.
Oh, yeah, I was just.
Oh, no, I know the name. I just,
I knew it, you just, it wasn't on the tip of your
I
tongue that
wasn't
day.
gonna say it. What?
Oh, no,
When?
you mean today, no, I met with him the other day,
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
or Township.
Yeah.
You recommend this, Joe?
Yeah, I would like for it to be read into the record, Madam Auditor.
This lady even looks like
Do you want me to read it?
Did you want to?
No. You do so well at it.
She's good at it.
We only got you one more time to read that.
Okay, we're ready?
So this is
Final reading.
final reading.
Okay. General fund, 43,722,520. Accent report, 10,000. Lit, 6,255,493. Clerk perpetuation, 136,249. Community corrections, 149,000. Cumulative bridge, 7,728,282. CCD, 2,240,809. Emergency planning, 18,000. County extradition, 5,000. Firearms training, 85,000. Health, 2,139,712. Local health maintenance, 92,710. Local roads and street, 1,580,000. Medical inmates, 23,100. 1176 highway fund, $4,447,066. Park operating, $226,584. Plan commission, $883,227. Auditor plat map, $32,000. Stormwater fund, $3,953,364. Reassessment fund, $555,825. Recorder perpetuation, $323,195. Riverboat money, $407,239. Sex violent offender fund, $23,165. Sheriff pension fund, $250,000. Public defender, $114,000. Surveyor's perpetuation, $196,540. Tobacco fund, $69,410. Unsafe building fund, $200,000. Vehicle inspection, $5,000. Auditor non-reverting, $281,613. Elected official training, $8,085. Hazardous substance, $40,000. Statewide E911, $2,236,879. Juvenile probation ad fee, $7,564. Adult probation supplemental, $696,782. Adult probation supplemental and abuse, $106,105. Supplemental juvenile probation, $117,370. PCADRF, $7,726. County user fee prosecutor deferral, $334,488. County user fee prosecutor pretrial, $108,482. County user fee sheriff continuing ed, $30,000. County user fee sheriff, fund 2505, $225,505. Fund 2506, county user fee jury fund, $45,000. 2507, county user fee prosecutor check deferral, $1,500. Drain maintenance, $780,000. Expo center, $616,145. Animal shelter fee shelter, $103,671. Animal shelter supplemental, $199,940. Animal control fee control, $67,367. Drug task force, $148,362. Garage fund, $14,500. District task force fund, EMA, $31,140. Wildlife management donation, $24,200. Sheriff donation, $54,000. Overweight vehicles, sheriff, $22,670. Overweight vehicles, highway, $50,000. Debt funds, $2,960,000. Stormwater construction fund, $2,800,000. Hospital sale proceeds, $665,000. Cable franchise, $1,100,000. Public safety, $368,848. Videotape fee, $10,000. Photo duplicate, $11,000. Inmate processing fee, $137,527. MOH, $521,890. JDC codes, $90,716. Foundation budget fund, $4,903,224. Portage School resource officers, $213,055. Porter County Sheriff interdiction, $123,000. Highway engineering fund, $155,000. Prosecutor PCA, $10,000. Domestic violence, $180,000. Stop grant, $38,610. SCAP grant, $8,000. Addictions response grant, $12,000. Sheriff DEA proceeds, $125,000. Bioterrorism, $176,594. Family and child grant, $16,148. Trail fund, $50,000. Health IIC grant, $122,121. MOH IAC grant, $9,530. General 4D incentive, $120,950. Prosecutor 4D, $214,518. Clerks, new 4D, $93,373. ARP, MOH SVOG, $325,000. Court interpretive grant, $9,000. Family court donation, $10,765. Adult community correction, $253,490. Court community corrections, $81,572. Adult probation CC pretrial, $201,318. Vassia guardianship grant, $60,000. LRMB matching grant, $1 million. Special airport general, $1,437,810. Special airport cumulative building, $338,555. Special solid waste management, $1,582,041. Special recycling capital, $88,500. Special West Porter Township fire, $141,220. West Porter Township fire, the other special fund, cumulative fund, $94,085. Tourism, $2,080,623, and the sheriff overtime fund, $64,590, and that concludes final reading. Of all funds.
Yes?
I've got a question as to the airport's budget.
Yes.
If I heard it right, it was right at $1,437,810.
Correct.
When I was here before, we indicated that we put the 5% contingency through that just to get to the point to where whatever the county gave as raises, we would get the same. Our budget from last year was $1,421,842, and this is at $1,437,810. So how are we documenting that difference?
Yeah, probably health insurance.
And, you know, if we're gonna talk about the number, since we know that the county has gone with the stipend, I have currently myself and 5 others, so 6 full-time employees that, you know, per our request would be, you know, eligible for that stipend, in addition to the changes necessary for FICA and PERF to support those changes. So I've done some numbers based on that, and again, I don't know where we came with the $1,437,810.
Well, that's what was read in second reading, right? Yeah, it's health insurance increase.
You know, we had changes for the health insurance, that's a given. That was almost a $2,000 change that we are budgeting for 8 employees for next year.
Yeah, that was the only change that we're showing.
Yeah, so it didn't change for the stipend. So what we would have to do, and what I would recommend that the board consider, is since we have 6 current full-time employees, that we would allow that stipend of $18,000 for that with the representative changes to PERF and FICA.
Vicki?
The council has not addressed where the stipend is coming out of, correct?
Correct, so I think that's something we'll probably,
The stipend comes out of our own budget. We are not a general fund budget.
right, I understand. But it's something we'll probably address next year, I guess, is the best chance. I mean, Vicki, yeah, because that all hasn't, and we know where the big chunks are, but there's all the other funds, the individual funds, like a plan commission fund, like the airport fund, that
Recycling, for example.
recycling that, you know,
The decision still has to be made. Are your budgets going to have to support the stipend yourself? In which case, there would have to be an additional appropriation
Yeah.
with the FICA and PERF. That
go-
hasn't been decided yet.
As far as the binding budget review, the council cannot increase what the airport authority puts forth, it only can decrease. So we have advertised an amount larger than what's necessary. And it's just really the process that we've done in the past, to where whatever raises the council passes usually is passed on to our budget. It's outside of the general fund. It's just a matter of your binding review.
So you're saying, Kyle, you cannot come back for an additional appropriation after the start of the year?
I could, but with opening comments that we had to this meeting, that's not a budget process, that's an additional process. That's why we have, since we've been under binding review, have given that 5% contingency for raises. Because we've never exceeded 5%, and we've always
Those
been
were
able to.
removed. Those were removed.
Yeah,
Because they treat you guys the same as.
they were removed on second reading. I have, and as we discussed at the last meeting, I currently have 12 full-time positions. I have a retirement and a loss here, so right now I'm working with 6. We're fulfilling some of that with part-time, but I normally, historically, and as the budget shows with my Porter County Employee Benefit Plan, we budget for 8. So we are going to go back to having 8 people. That's normally what we carry full-time. And the other 4 positions that were approved in 2008 were considerations for us going to 24/5 and 24/7, which we have not done yet, and have a deputy director, and have a secretary bookkeeper. Those 4 positions have really been unfilled since they were approved by the council in 2008. But we normally operate the airport with 8 full-time positions. And as I say, what we're trying to do is at least follow what we've done in the past, where, you know, what this board approves in final reading is what my budget has to be in Gateway.
I think I understand what you're saying. I mean, put the,
Saying, put the stipend.
put the stipend in now,
Recycling district.
but, I mean, I don't see, those additionals, you know, the opening statements were more really targeted at the general fund. But when we decided, but I think it's now just getting into the details of, you know, where we're gonna pay the stipends out of. There's a few questions on a few, like, funds like yourselves, that I think we're gonna want you to pay that out of there. So that would then require an additional appropriation, and I think that's what you're asking. Are you saying you don't think we can give you an additional appropriation of that $18,000?
I think you can do an additional, but
Right.
historically, what we've done is we've approved what the county has approved in our final budget, so we can finish our work and get that adopted within 5 days.
So to me, there's a number of budgets as we get it, because we're not gonna give it to next year. Number of budgets like yourself, Plan Commission, Soil and Water, recycling, I mean, that most likely you're gonna have to come back for additionals to be able to, you know, because we're gonna ask you to pay the stipends out of those, so. I mean, I would say just leave it as right now and have you come back for the additional when we decide to do it, because as you know, Councilman Bozak had asked, is it 1 time, is it 2? We haven't decided, and I guess if we put it in there and all of a sudden comes January, you want to pay those out when we haven't even done that yet. I'd rather keep everything consistent when we get into next year. When we decide in the manner in which we're going to pay it, whether it's once, twice, 10 times, you know, then you'll get something that says come back for that additional to pay this on this date or these dates.
And that's not a problem, as long as it's known going in. And I will admit that with the new policy for longevity, I did not program for longevity. We have usually been paying that from those open salary positions that we didn't fill. So that's not a problem, but I think if we stay with the county having a direct policy to longevity in the next budget, in the 2023 budget, I will include an item, line item for those proposed longevity raises.
Okay.
Just to be consistent, because this is the first time I saw within the county budgets the programming of longevity. And I think we've been under that new policy now for 2 years, to where it's paid so far after June 30th and so far after December. And I just didn't catch up with that in my budget preparation.
I don't know what budgets carry longevity. I did see the one for tourism, but otherwise that's paid out of, you guys pay out of that out of your own, okay, so there's a few, okay.
It's just budgetary matter.
All right,
I mean, if you want to include the stipends now, you could.
we could just wait, let's just wait, I think, till we figure out the,
In the fact that
The
there's
program.
stipends, I can defend that with my employees.
we'll absolutely do it, and then when we figure that out, when we'll do it, then there's gonna be a series of, departments that have to come in for the additional to pay that during, at the time we decide to pay it out.
Sounds good.
So, all right,
Thank you for your
thank you.
consideration.
So there's a motion, you heard all the numbers from Madam Auditor for the final reading. there's a motion to accept final reading numbers.
Yes.
Second.
Seconds. Any further discussion, corrections, additions, Madam Auditor? Are we ready to take a phone call on final reading?
Do we need to hear him again?
Roll call. Okay,
Roll
I'm
call,
sorry, I
as long
thought
as you're okay with everything.
Did
I say phone
Councilmember Rivas,
Yes.
Councilmember Bozick.
Yes.
Councilmember Brickner,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sims.
Yes.
6-0. And now, please, we'll need your signature.
To sign
This
it,
has to
and
be
with that,
uploaded to Gateway, which
ladies
we
and
do for
gentlemen,
all
thank you.
departments. Okay.
What's that?
We do all this for all the.
Yeah. I know Andy wants to run, sign it.
Sign where your name
No, Andy don't
is,
run.
say A,
Wants to
and
walk.
your signature, and then. We don't need it, right?
No, I can print the next one.
And I assume the director of operations.
So there's 4 total. Are you gavel or?
No, we can.
Do you want him out? You know, so-
We can hold.
And they make more than the
Vicky? Everything okay? Vicky?
Yeah.
Tiffany? Tony? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very
Again,
much.
for all your hard work and helping us put all this together. Budgeting is not fun. It's a long process, a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff being thrown at. You guys ran a lot of reports for us. Some we used, some we didn't.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all the hard work that you ladies do, really. And like we were saying, if you were here before this staff came, you would know what the struggles can be. And if you're here after, you know, if none of you guys are here, you'll definitely understand what the struggles will be again, to not have a staff like you guys. So, hey.
I will say doing these changes on final budget adoption is not the norm.
Not the ideal, to push everything off to the end. To put up with them, we gotta start making decisions in second reading. You know, everybody didn't, you don't wanna touch the raises and stuff, so we push all these budgets off. It was a collective decision and kind of what we've always done. If you guys wanna.
Have a good night.
Good night.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
There's a second. Anybody further discussion on what we did? So, Vicky, the salary ordinance, that just, it's good. There's no publications or anything. It's part of this process. We just pass it next month.
Yes, we'll have to adopt it. We have to look at the language that we need to add for the ARPA funding as well as the stipend. And so we'll have to add that to each of the budget. I think we'll have to change the language on the assessors, level 2, level 3, to be conform with State Board of Accounts.
And we'll put that on the November
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're back here tomorrow night. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Greg will stay here.
5-1, storm.
Couple twos tonight. I was back with you. Couple twos tonight.